Welcome everyone to this evening's Style Esports best of three match between Royal Griffin, Majesty, and the SandNinjas. Hope you're all having a fantastic Monday night. I know mine's going pretty well. I am Baymax, of course, and I am going to be casting these games this evening with one of our newer casters by the name of Merlinkle. So give him a warm welcome. How are things going here, Merlin?
Going good, going good. I'm excited. Second time casting, and I think we've got a nice match shaping up. We're in the middle of pick bands, and I think there's some interesting stuff going down already. We've got a huge comfort pick, Nami, that has made its way through. Excuse me, on the part of SandNinjas. So I'll be interested to see if they take that support pick as one of their comfort picks.
Yeah, another thing to look out for. We saw this yesterday when Royal Griffin played. Who'd they play? They played Hail of Spades. That's what it was. Royal Griffin played Hail of Spades yesterday, and we saw that Dave Bout's Leona definitely has got a lot of high priority for Royal Griffin. Something that they're going to look to play a lot. And pretty good chance that they could pick up this game. I'm not actually sure what that second ban was. It looks like it was Zoe. So Leona's still in play. Like you said, Nami's still in play. Neither support picked up just yet. It's actually a Vladimir and Sejuani lock-in coming through for the SandNinjas.
Interesting. Traditionally, when you're red side, you want to leave one of your power picks to the top, and that's usually kind of mid top. We do see the Leona coming through, huge comfort pick, over 100 games this season alone on that champion. So you're going to be mechanically very comfortable with it. Varus Leona, good CC, an extremely bursty level 6. It'll be interesting also to see how Varus itemizes these days. There's a lot of kind of lethality poke versus the traditional crit build. To round it out, we have Fiora. So SandNinjas going counter to red side traditional drafting by picking both of their solo laners in the first half.
Yeah, and complete top half of the map, which is a little strange. I mean, if you're following LCS right now, there's a couple AD carries that are basically pick or ban. AD carries like Ezreal or Aphelios, especially Aphelios. Just like, if you're not first picking them and you're not banning them, then what are you doing? But like you said, SandNinjas, they are not falling into the traditional way of doing things here. They got their top half of the map, which, especially looking at the Fiora pick, I don't really know if that's something worth prioritizing when you don't know what sort of a matchup you're throwing that Fiora into, and that's not, that also takes away part of the benefits of picking Vlad early. Is at least if you pick Vlad early, it's like, well, that's a flex pick. You can pick Vlad and not really reveal too much about the draft because you don't know if that Vlad is going mid or top. Well, now Royal Griffin have a pretty good idea that the Vlad is going mid lane because Fiora almost certainly going to be top lane. So you're right. I'm not a huge fan of the start to this draft. We do see the Ezreal get banned away, though. So the AD carry pool getting pinched down a little bit more now that SandNinjas have opted to take their top half of the map.
Yeah, I think Royal Griffin's got an amazing setup here. They're going to be able to counterpick both top and mid with on blue side. That's virtually unheard of. I also think that they've already got a tank. They've got Echo, most likely in the jungle, but conceivably you could put that mid lane against the Vladimir if you wanted to. It's Fiora. You've got Quinn, you've got Malphite. There are a couple solid counter picks depending on champion pool. They did ban the Renekton and the Kennen. And it looks like we're going to see Mordekaiser coming out on top against the Fiora. That is not a traditional counter pick. I mean, one of the main points of strength for Mordekaiser is that when he ults you into the Death Realm, he gains your stats and he pins you down. And, Fiora is a master duelist. So sometimes she's just strong enough she can take you in the Death Realm. But if she also reposts the ultimate, Mordekaiser's just left in the lurch with nothing to do. So I'm not a real big fan of that pick, particularly once you've got when you've got that last pick, when you've got that counter pick. But I guess we'll just have to kind of see how it plays out. And actually, now that I see that they're picking Lucian, that's a double ADC. That's possible that they're sending Lucian up against the Fiora, and they want to take Mordekaiser into the Vladimir, which I think would be more favorable.
Yeah, I was going to say, I actually like that idea a lot. I think Mordekaiser into Vladimir is a super strong matchup for the Mordekaiser, and Lucian, he basically doesn't lose any solo lane matchups, and Fiora is not an exception to that rule. Definitely is going to have pressure in that lane if it is a Lucian top lane. I want to quickly go back to the Echo pick because I do it did turn out to be an Echo jungle. I want to point out that there's a couple reasons I think that pick is pretty good. One, Ginja Ninja, his most played champion is actually Echo, so the fact that that didn't get banned away is pretty helpful for RGM. Two, the SandNinjas, Black Masu ends up playing a lot of Echo. Echo is actually his most played champion as well. So not only is the Echo a primary pick, a desired pick for Ginja Ninja, but it's also sort of stealing it away from Black on the side of SandNinjas. So,
I agree with that, but the only counterpoint is that Black is most likely playing ADC in this lane. He's Diamond 3, one of the strongest players on the team, and it looks like they're putting him, at least according to the LCS order that they were in as ADC. So if he was going to flex into a different lane, I agree that Echo could be a pick away, but I think that it wasn't necessarily something you had to go first.
well, I mean, you don't necessarily know for sure. You know, put yourself in RGM's shoes. It's like, do you know for sure where everyone's going to go? Probably not. There's not really a clear AD carry main on the side of the SandNinjas. Black does have a couple AD carries relatively high up, but he's also got Echo and Azir and Kayn and Karthus, and it's like, you know, iStuck has got a pretty sizable amount of Vayne games played. It's kind of across the board. Senna as well could opt for fasting Senna with Sleepy Giant Panda on the Senna pick. There's definitely options available, so it's hard to know for sure.
Right. I really, you know, looking at how that pick ban came out, I really think RGM has a strong early lane. I will say, we didn't talk about it, but SandNinjas did pick up Aphelios, and that Morgana Aphelios double diamond bot lane going up against Varus Leona could be interesting. If Morgana counters the Leona pretty well with her black shield, stops the CC, will keep Aphelios moving. But I think that is certainly a lane to watch once we get rolling in the game.
Yeah, worth mentioning though, it's most likely going to be a lethality Varus coming out from Shadell. We saw that 2 or maybe even 3 times last night. We saw it a lot, I think 2 times. And lethality Varus, you know, sure, the black shield stuffs it stuffs Dave Out's engage, but doesn't stop a piercing arrow, right? Just
right.
The lethality Varus poke doesn't care if you're black shielded or not. Although I will say, the Aphelios pick, I was talking about it, it's a very high priority AD carry, especially in very high elo and very competitive play. Very high skill ceiling, very difficult mechanically to play champion. Can take a lot of prowess, can take a lot of experience to play to a very high degree, and assuming it is Black that's ending up playing this pick, he doesn't have that much Aphelios played in ranked in his match history here, so you know, maybe won't end up going that well for SandNinjas. I think it's kind of a gamble, but it's one that definitely has the potential to pay off. And if you look at the team that SandNinjas have drafted, between the Aphelios and the Vladimir and the Fiora, like, they scale to a ridiculous degree.
Absolutely. It is a heavy scaling comp. I kind of like the Sejuani as like an enabler, pure tank frontliner, able to kind of mix it up with a lot of CC, maybe pin some people down, but you really need that body so that Fiora can kind of juke around and get to the back line, and Vladimir can kind of, you know, plow in, moving as fast as he can, laying down the ultimate and damage and pooling. So I think that from a comp perspective, the Sejuani lends itself to kind of a team fight. And it should help. It's just a question of whether they're going to get to 30 minutes, you know, versus kind of a much more heavy early game oriented team.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Although, you know, looking at how the picks came through here, I think that it probably is going to be a Lucian mid, because I mean, we still do have 40 seconds. These guys can swap around a little bit, but for now, it looks like Heacher is going to be the one playing that Lucian, and Heacher was the mid laner for Royal Griffin yesterday. So unless that's changed, probably is going to be a Lucian mid and a Mordekaiser top lane. It could lane swap, it's conceivable, but for the most part, I would bet that that's probably what's going to happen, which makes it a little less likely that Royal Griffin are going to have pressure coming from that top lane. We'll probably be mostly looking to Heacher and to Devout to make plays happen early on, maybe to Ginja Ninja as well.
I really hope we don't see Mordekaiser going into Fiora top lane. I mean, counterpicking yourself, that is a well-known bad matchup because of the interactions between ult and repost. So we'll have to wait until they get in the game before we can figure out who's going where. I know that Lucian, from a pick perspective, is sitting in the mid lane position, but sometimes you've just got a player who's got mechanical skill on a particular champ, and mid top swap back and forth fairly fluidly because the lanes are not that dissimilar. You're still sitting in a solo lane, top being a little bit longer, a little bit more dangerous, mid being a little bit burstier. But I still think that it's got to be that Lucian top lane. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Hopefully it'll pan out. But
Smax is a Mordekaiser main, so he's probably got a pretty good feel for how good he can do on that champion. I would hope it is his most played champion. Although pointing to Heacher, pointing to the Lucian pick, Lucian is actually not a champion that it seems like Heacher has touched hardly at all, at least recently. I could check back a little bit into some of these later seasons, but at least for season 9 and for this season, like nothing, like almost no Lucian games played. If I look back, he's got where is it? What is it? Where'd it go? It was right there. No, there it is. 3 games. He's got 3 games played this season. That's it. And Lucian, he's not necessarily the easiest champion to just pick up and play. Sort of in the vein of Aphelios, I would say Lucian is one of the most mechanically challenging champions to play, especially when you're playing him against a Morgana and a Sejuani, and you're going to have to be dodging around a lot of that crowd control. You're going to have to make sure you're not getting hit and make sure you're not getting caught out by stuff.
Right. Heacher plays a ton of Set, Ornn, Darius, so he's no stranger to top lane. We're just going to have to wait till in-game. But I will also say, we talked a lot about Mordekaiser being bad against Fiora. I do not think Lucian will go particularly well into Vladimir. Vladimir's got a ton of sustain in the mid lane. He's relatively safe. He's got pool. He's difficult to gank. I just don't know that Lucian would really have like a lot of kill pressure, whereas Vlad after first buy or once he hits 6 will definitely have kill pressure on a squishy ADC like Lucian. So
yeah,
we'll see what the lanes look like in
all
game.
Right, gotta be the lane swap.
I hope it's the lane swap. Otherwise I lose all my credibility as a caster.
Well, I agree with you that a lane swap would 100% be a fantastic idea. I agree that Lucian into Vlad is not as good as Mord into Vlad, and Mord into Fiora is definitely not as good as Lucian into Fiora, but we'll have to see if Royal Griffin end up agreeing with us or not. Before we get into this game and we see who ends up winning and where these champions end up going, we are going to head to a quick break as this spectator delay ticks down, but don't go anywhere. In just a few minutes, Merlin and I will be back with Game 1 of SandNinjas versus RGM. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. We have entered into the Rift with this exciting match with Royal Griffin Majesty versus the SandNinjas. We are in the Ionia group, so should be a good one. Keep in mind that Royal Griffin are sort of fighting to keep themselves from being relegated here. They've only won one series so far this season, which puts them sort of in the danger zone. So they're trying to make a name for themselves here. SandNinjas, on the other hand, they've won two, so they're a little bit safer, but they won't be if they lose this game. So we'll see what ends up happening. Both these teams sort of fighting to make sure that they have the right to remain in Ionia. I, of course, am Baymax casting once again. I'll be on the play-by-play, and Merlin is my color caster this evening. How are you doing, Merlin?
Doing great, doing great. I like the early play. We saw some red wards going deep on the top side to allow SandNinjas to spot out where the lanes are going and who's going to what lane, and also to know where the jungler is starting. It looks like Sejuani is going to be starting on the top side, and they're going to know that Echo is starting on the bot side. So Sejuani's not looking to fight. She's looking to farm and kind of get around on the map. And we did not see the lane swap that we were hoping for. So they are putting Lucian in the mid against Vladimir, and Mordekaiser is going top against the Fiora. So it is a comfort pick. I'm sure he's played this matchup before. Let's see what they can do with it.
Yeah, you know, I know you're skeptical of the non-lane swap, and I also am. Like you said, I think that putting Lucian top lane and Mordekaiser mid lane would definitely make both matchups better, but we'll see, right? They didn't do it for a reason. I'm sure that thought came up. I'm sure they talked about it, but just decided not to. Now looking topside, Cyclops might be trying for a level 2 gank. We talked about camping the Fiora so she gets ahead, and this might be exactly what Cyclops is doing.
Here.
Going forward with the Arctic Assault, gonna land the Permafrost stunts. Maxwell flashing out, trying to keep himself alive, but not gonna quite get that one. First blood going over to Isuck, a nice lunge for the kill.
No, what a start. That is the absolute ideal start for Fiora. So Sejuani, you know, they have this all planned out from level 0, dropping wards topside, making sure they know who's top. Sejuani starting red buff and running for a level 2 gank. Oh, every hit on all cylinders. And let me tell you, that Mordekaiser is going to have real trouble. If there's one champion that can kind of dive you under turret if she gets ahead, it's that Fiora. On the other side, because Sejuani started on the red side, bot was able to get a really nice push. So Aphelios and Morgana are sitting there kind of driving in under the turret.
I'm not even sure how Shadell lost all his HP, but holy crap.
Yeah, a lot of damage onto the Varus. I will say that Echo is vertical jungling, so he's taken Sejuani's all of her bot side camps, and when you do that, you're actually in a nice position to attempt to gank. So it looks like he's gonna potentially try and get something done here.
Yeah, looking for the bush bait. Sleepy Giant Panda gonna walk right into him. Dark Binding is gonna land. Should be able to walk out of this one.
Again, really nice map awareness. So the bot lane was already backing out.
Ooh,
and here we go again.
Played. Yeah, Dave, I was looking for more, but he's in 1v2. Shadell's got no HP. He can't back up his support. He goes down, shifting to the mid lane. Ignite ticking Tomorrow down. Pool gonna take him to his own death. Cyclops has arrived, trying to trade one back, but Lucian is strong early. Meanwhile, Sleepy Giant Panda getting a kill. Boss side onto Shadell as well. 2-for-0 bot lane in favor of SandNinjas, and Cyclops picking up a kill mid lane, making that mid lane trade 1-for-1.
Oh man, action-packed game so far. So we saw the Lucian do what he does best, which is kind of get that level 3, level 4 spike in and all in, which he did with Ignite, and he got the kill. But Sejuani, wonderful positioning, map awareness, rotates through and gets the counter kill with that mid lane, and you know, perfect play from the jungler. On the bot side, Aphelios Morgana are getting strong, and Leona went in hard, Deval on that Leona, while Varus had under 200 HP. And he was just not going to be able to follow up on that. So I'm not sure if they just aren't on the same page, but you cannot engage anytime you want with Leona. You got to make sure that your ADC is kind of ready to go in there with you. On the flip side, the Mordekaiser topside has done really well against the Fiora. She hasn't bought yet, but he's got a good minion push advantage and is looking quite strong up there.
Well, that's the key, I think, right? Isuck hasn't recalled yet, hasn't bought items yet, hasn't used teleport yet, whereas Maxwell has done all of the above. He recalled, or didn't actually buy, but recalled, used his teleport, and still didn't buy. So I think it's a little bit of a facade, right? Isuck's still going to be in a pretty strong spot, especially after the recall, you have to imagine. Now looking back mid lane as well, Heacher putting in some work on the Vlad. You have to keep in mind, right, that Cyclops did trade back a kill mid lane, but it was 1 kill onto Heacher and 1 kill onto Cyclops, which means that Tomorrow got Bupkis. He got nothing for dying there, so definitely still going to be pushed in on the Vlad. Still going to be mid lane bleeding and hurting a little bit for SandNinjas.
It's true. Look at Vlad's itemization. I mean, Vladimir is a late game skilled mage, and he knows that all he has to do is farm for 2025 and he'll be fine. So he went ahead and started with a double cloth armor start. I know that Lucian is strong, but burning through that extra armor is going to be really tough for Heacher, and particularly with Vlad's sustain. I mean, you know, the combination of sustain and armor is really just going to hopefully make that a kind of farming lane for the Vlad. So I thought it was an interesting first buy. Certainly not traditional for Vlad, but I think it's probably going to work pretty well.
Now switching gears, looking at this Cloud Dragon, been started up here by the SandNinjas. Vision control, pink word dropped in the pit by Ninja. Might go over the wall for the steal. The parallel convergence. He's not level 6, has no ult to get back over that wall. Dragon drops low, gets smited away by Cyclops, and Ninja, he's just gonna go down right to that Arctic Assault. Now here comes Heacher with a culling, finds the needle in the haystack, picks up Cyclops, but he is gonna go down, trading back another kill onto Sleepy Giant Panda. A 2-for-1 so far. Devout and Shadell walking away. It's gonna remain a 2-for-1.
It was a very nice dragon play. So bot with their push lead rotated up to dragon, and you would expect them to get it clean. I mean, there's no rotation for the blue side to get up to that Drake. So they really had that clean, but Echo decided he wasn't going to let it stand that easily. Went in, died for it, wasn't able to outsmite the Drake. So a big win there, and we're gonna have to see if that's the beginning of the end of the snowball. Uh-oh, it looks like Echo's got the flank on the Morgana.
Yeah, Giant Panda might be in some trouble. Ninja's pretty weak still. Gonna dodge out of that dark binding, and Giant Panda's got nowhere to run to. If it was just a 1v1, he might be fine, but Heacher and Devout have arrived. Big fat shutdown goal going over to Ninja at the end of the day.
Nice shutdown and a little over-aggressive warding. So here's the thing, you're playing support, you know it's your job to clear pinks, and you just got through Dragon, and you know that there's a pink in the back. You do not need to get that ward. That ward is not relevant until the next Drake comes up. You've got time. Look at the back timing in the bot lane. The Aphelios is in lane, and Morgana was just late. She would have been a lot better off just making the recall and trying to clear that ward with your ADC or with your jungler, or at a more relevant time than immediately after you take Drake. So, a little mistake costs you a kill, but they're still up 1.5k on the map, and a lot of that bot lane and top lane. We've got 1,000 gold over Aphelios over Varus, and 700 more in Fiora's pocket top side.
Yeah, and forget about the lane leads, right? You're also up a big fat purple Shelly. So Cyclops looking to take away the Herald, and there's no answer coming through. Ninja still on the boss of the map. Mid lane though, Heacher looking for another all-in. Gonna go ahead and force out the Hemo Plague from Tomorrow for that heal. Uses it Ignite. Doesn't actually end up finding the kill, but still lane pressure. Heacher is putting the hurt in. Now looking bot lane. Shadell finding a kill on the Sleepy Giant Panda. A nice gank from Ninja. Didn't see the start of that one. My bad on that. But looking back mid lane, Cyclops trying to punish Heacher for staying maybe a little bit too long, but decides better than to go in on him. Still waiting on time to drop that Herald.
Absolutely. I mean, even if Cyclops just comes down and gives Vlad a little bit of relief from the lane, and here they go, one more fight.
He's just in trouble. He disrespected Tomorrow a little bit. Got a nice little empowered sucky suck action from that transfusion, and Tomorrow picking up a solo kill for himself. That is huge, I think. That's symbolic of this game sort of turning in favor of the SandNinjas. And now looking bot side as well. Cyclops didn't get anything to happen mid lane, but he is gonna be darned if he can't find a gank on Shadell. Investing his flash for the permafrost slope. Not gonna quite use the Glacial Prison just yet, but the Moonlight Vigil from Black is almost gonna find a kill. Now Teleport has come through from Smaxwell. Gonna go ahead and take Cyclops to the Death Chamber, but Black is doing the exact same to Devout, finding one kill on a killing spree now, and somehow Cyclops is still alive, eventually gonna go down, but he bought so much time, and Black gonna sidestep, just barely, not gonna be enough. Shutdowns traded back and forth. Smaxwell is gonna go down, but not before he finds a kill onto Black, and now it's just Giant Panda and Shadell in this bot lane. But you know what? Ninja, he has finally arrived on the scene, and Giant Panda, you are still here, and I don't think the Soul Shackle is gonna be able to get you out of this one. Nice kill going over to Ninja. Does invest the Chrono Break though.
Absolutely. So that was a messy series of fights. But I think it kind of benefited Royal Griffin a little bit. They were able to pick up some good kills. We've now got a little bit more gold onto that Varus, which is really important. The opening kill, that Vladimir, I think that's a really important one to look at. Lucian had invested his smite. He didn't get the kill. So Sejuani and Cyclops came and got Tamara a little bit more breathing room on that Vlad, and then he was able to kind of go in and all in. That is absolutely going to happen. Vlad will get stronger, and if he can already all in the Lucian, that's going to be a very scary lane.
Yeah, I'm actually liking the United tomorrow for that reason. And I want to mention, we talked a little bit about this in Champ Select already, but SandNinjas, they have a crazy amount of scaling. There is no doubt in my mind that SandNinjas definitely outscale RGM here if they play it even close to correct. And that's concerning because they already have a lead, right? If you're RGM, you're in a little bit of a rough spot. Now tomorrow, looking for another solo kill, flashing forward. He's got the Empowered Transfusion, finding one kill. Genji Ninja looking to try to trail him back, is probably going to pick it up, but tomorrow is pretty tanky on the Vlad. And Sleepy Giant Panda flashing forward with the Spell Shield. Not going to quite get there in time, though. Genji Ninja on a killing spree. He's being collapsed on, dashing over the wall so that he can auto-attack, teleport to that good old Ocean Dragon, but not going to be enough to get him out of that one. Black Master picking up a kill for himself, his 5th of the game, by the way, on Tophelios. Now Cyclops and the rest of SandNinjas starting up this Ocean Dragon. Only Shaydell and Devout nearby to answer. Answer they will do, throwing out the Chains of Corruption, finding a kill onto Shaydell, or Shaydell getting a kill onto Cyclops, rather. Dragon still going over. Oh, I thought I got stolen for a second. I'm still going over to SandNinjas, so, you know, not the end of the world on that one, but not a bad kill traded back onto Shaydell.
No, I mean, they got to watch this Varus. I mean, he's able to do work. I have no idea, why the Dragon was executed quite that way. Like, I was really hoping Sejuani would just pull it out. Like, you know what Varus' range is like, a more fight topside?
That should have been, I think, I hate to say that should have been a kill for Isaac, but I think it should have been a kill for Isaac, but it wasn't. Isaac takes the tower shot, and Smaxwell ends up cleaning up or mopping up the floor, picking up Isaac. At least one lane is going well for Royal Griffin right now.
I don't think bot lane's going that badly either. I mean, I know the Aphelios
5-1 Aphelios. What do you mean?
But the Varus at 3-1, and he's just a different style champ, I think.
Ooh, Zenith Blade. Spell Shield wasn't in time. I thought more might have come out of that, but not quite.
I feel like Morgana's gotten caught out a couple times, and I feel like she's going to have to kind of position a little bit more carefully. But yeah, I don't know why. I was really hoping for SandNinjas to pull that Drake out, because if you pull that Drake out, you can safely get it. They fed Varus a snipe kill. It was well executed by Royal Griffin, but that's just a very, very simple execution thing. You've got to make sure that you optimize your dragon takes and make sure that you pull it out. As it is, I think this bot lane is super volatile, but also really interesting. If Fiora gets an engage at this point, I think there's probably enough damage on that Varus to go ahead and get kills.
Yeah, I definitely agree, although this is not the great way to start a fight if you're RGM. Shaydell eating a Dark Binding into the Soul Shackle. Stun's going to pick up that kill, and Devout's gone back onto the backline trying to pick up Black, but just not got the damage. It was only Devout finding any sort of a way to kill Black there. So 2 for nothing in the bot lane. Black and Sleepy Giant Panda just wrecking house here.
Right, that's another kill on the Aphelios, 20 CS lead. It looks like they're taking plates, maybe pulling first turret here. So they are going to be way ahead, and that all started by Varus getting caught by a Morgana binding.
Ooh. Teacher dashing forward in tomorrow. I don't know if he wants this. He's going to use the culling. Meanwhile, bot lane Black picking up the turret. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I thought more might come out of that, but it didn't quite happen.
Had to drop it for that mid fight again. The Vladimir is just overpowering the Lucian at this point. He's pinned a turret.
Got the Protobell.
Lucian's got the damage, right? The itemizations are starting to come in for him. Fiora, just looking at CS, I know Fiora, I said, should be hard countering this lane. I think she's doing a good job pushing in, and Mordekaiser's staying alive, but he's down 50 CS. They're down. SandNinjas has a 10 CS lead on the Vlad, and they're rotating their bot lane, which is a beautiful use of the lead that they've already got by taking that first turret. Looking for this second turret on this push. Let's see if Royal Griffin can counter.
Yeah, Genji Ninja over the wall, looking for a stun. Tomorrow Chunk very, very low, has the pool, not gonna quite die. Take it back, Shadell with a snipe, piercing arrow, picking up a kill onto Tomorrow. Now Shadell is next in line, flashing away, minion auto attack gonna finish the job, doing what Black couldn't, picking up another kill, 2 for 1, actually in favor of Royal Griffin. And now Giant Panda stepped too far forward, right into Genji Ninja, got the soul shackles, got a stopwatch. Is he gonna use it? Stunned up for a little bit too long from the Xenian Blade. He's gonna have time to pop the stopwatch. And then Genji Ninja getting hit by that dark binding just in time for Isaac to arrive. 2 for 1 turns into a 2 for 2.
Beautiful Morgana play. I mean, everybody's just, you know, they just see that squishy mage sitting just out of range, and, you know, she soul shackles, baits him in just before she dies. She, Zonya's knowing that Fiora is coming to clean up and that it can't stay to get the kill. So that was a really nice bait. That was a kill and the turret. They don't get that without that bait play by the Morgana. So, super, super nice. The only bright spot is Mord pushes up the top lane, but he does not take turrets well. And it's a cannon wave, so Fiora is still there to pick up almost all the CS. Let's see, it's a 5k gold lead for SandNinjas, and they're the scaling team. Despite the fact that Echo's been doing well on kills, I think that
Does not bode well for our GM.
yeah, this is gonna be a slog.
I mean, we'll see. Devout and Shadell might be too far forward now in the boss side jungle. See Giant Panda got the spell shield preemptively. Dark Binding gonna be dodged, but doesn't matter. They can't dodge everything. Cyclops showing up. Teleport coming through from Maxwell though, and it's actually Black Master who's shut down at the start of the fight. Giant Panda next in line, and Royal Griffin, they're looking to spice things up. Cyclops in the death realm. He's gonna buy some time, but guess what? Doesn't matter if you outlive the death realm, because the rest of RGM is there to clean you up. Devout finding that kill. Now Tomorrow on the flank, maybe trying to make something happen, but I think he thinks he's a little stronger than he is. Gonna go into the pool, Ignite from Heacher, dropped. Chemo Plague gonna take Heacher a little bit low, but not as low as Tomorrow. Now it's looking back to the other end of the fight. I didn't even see what was happening. Isaac decided to go in. 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4. He's gonna die. And Heacher, Ignite, Dragon picking up another kill. Another kill onto SandNinjas. That was what, a 4 for 1, maybe a 4 for 2. Shadell did end up dying, but 4 for 2 and a Dragon. Merlin, you take those.
Oh, absolutely. Royal Griffin really coming out ahead in that fight. And I've got to say that Fiora just ran it down. You do not need to go in 1v4. I mean, they were 2v4 on the map with Vlad at the bottom and Fiora at the top. And she goes in on Drake and just basically ends. And it's not like top turret has been taken. Here's another fight mid.
Yeah, Black gonna go ahead and eat the Solar Flare for breakfast. Spell Shield not gonna quite do enough to get him out of that one alive. I thought for a second he might have had prayer, but Devout with the Ignite picking up the kill. Now Genji Ninja has arrived on the map as well. Shadell with the piercing arrow, and then Hail of Arrows gonna secure another kill for himself. 6 and 4 now on the Varus. That's his first kill in a little while, I think.
I'm not even sure why the bot lane is pushed up. There's like nothing to get. You're not going to siege the inner. If you were going to push a lane, you should be driving top where there's an open turret. But before, when we were talking about that big dragon fight, I really wish Fiora had just stayed and split. Like, she can draw pressure, she can take that first turret, there's like a lot she can do on the map, and choosing to join a lost team fight late, absolutely not going to get your team ahead. If you're not going to be there at the start of the fight and half your team dies before you can get there, you just shouldn't join at all. Here we are, big fight over blue buff.
Yeah, over blue buff. I don't know if this is a fight SandNinjas want, but they're going to take it anyways. Maxwell, Cyclops in the death realm. Genji Ninja going to go ahead and pop the chrono break. Now Cyclops going to go down, being taken to his death by Maxwell. Isaac next in line, entering into the Giant Metal Death Knight. What was I going to say? Giant Metal Death Knight, Paper Shredder, Wood Chipper, something like that. I don't know. Genji Ninja picking up the kill, though. That was 2 for nothing in favor of Royal Griffin.
Yeah, you know, it feels like Royal Griffin is ahead, and they're doing all this with a 2-3k gold deficit. And, you know, their team comp with the Echo kind of rotating around, it really lends itself to kind of skirmishy 2v2s, 3v3s, and SandNinjas is just giving them exactly what they want, these like small 2v2s and 3v3s, whereas they have kind of a much better team fight comp. Here we go topside.
Yeah, Sleepy Giant eating a death scratch. Not too much going to come out of that one. I do want to give Heacher credit, though, doing what Isaac was not able to do, split pushing that bot lane outer turret down. I think that was
absolutely
not a bad
like getting
macro
those
play
turrets
at
is a
all.
big deal. And I kind of hope that Royal Griffin, I mean, I still think this is anyone's match, but I hope that Royal Griffin can convert some of these skirmishes and some of these picks into objectives. It does no good to pick off 2 for 0 if you can't get that top lane. It does no good if you go, 3 for 1 if you don't pick up the Drake after. So
they did get the Drake. They did
get the Drake last fight. So let's see. Next Drake is in 2 minutes, another mountain. But right now they should be looking to collapse. We've got a Lucian, Echoes on his red, Lucian's bot lane, so that's a potential gank possibility.
Herald dropped bot here. I suck. You dropped the Herald. He's going to get the turret, but he's getting collapsed on. SandNinjas and Heacher finding themselves in a 2 versus 1, but they're not even necessarily winning it. Grand Challenge has been issued, and I suck. He did eventually go to his grave, but he took one with him, and now the rest of SandNinjas turning on to this big purple monster, while Royal Griffin were taking lessons on how to get control over these objectives. And you know what? I think only one of these teams took that to heart. I suck. You may have died, but you took out a tower, took out a kill, and guess what? He just got SandNinjas their first Baron of the game.
Absolutely. So that's the split Fiora I love. There's nothing better than having a Fiora that never joins the team, but draws 2 or 3. And look, she picked the right lane. She went bot side when Baron was up. She needs to go top side when Dragon is up, so that she puts pressure on the other side of the map. And it was Echo and Lucian fighting the Fiora. Nobody else was really needed. And this is like a hard point to and hard to master, but you don't need to send the whole team when 2 is all you need. So three members of Royal Griffin just kind of ran around like a chicken with their heads cut off and did nothing for 30-40 seconds while that fight finished.
Speaking of chickens, Sleepy playing chicken with SandNinjas in the mid lane. Dark finding it, taking very, very low. Forced to end up going ahead and using the Chrono Break. Now into the back line goes Tomorrow. A big Hemo play. He finds 1 kill onto SandNinja. Can he find a second? Double kill for Black. And now Shadell is going to follow as well. Black gonna get traded back as Heacher trying to desperately claw his team back into this one. Taking to the Death Realm is Cyclops. Maxwell on the scene as well. Double kill going over to Tomorrow now. 2 kills onto both of the carries of Sand. There's only 1 remaining. Maxwell, you've got Tomorrow waiting for you when you come out of that Death Chamber, and Cyclops is so tanky on this Sejuani. Ooh, Tomorrow's not as tanky, but it doesn't quite matter. He's gonna live with just a little bit of HP left. A big shutdown over to Tomorrow.
And let me tell you what that beautiful, beautiful Fiora is doing the whole time this fight is happening, destroying the base. That was not just, an ace.
Isuck really took what you said to heart. He really has been listening. Oh, he might be too far forward now, though. He was a little too hard. He did get the inhibitor, but ends up going down for it.
So if you think about that whole fight as one thing, that was a 5 for 1, 2 turrets and an inhib. That was just a massive swing.
5 for 2 if you include Isuck dying, which I think you should. Although Dragon spawning as well, and it looks like SandNinjas are actually going to get it.
They should be able to. If they were fast to it, they might be able to contest. Let's see.
SandNinjas not going to make it in time. Dragon smited away, 3rd Dragon of the game for the SandNinjas. Probably not going to be a fight over this.
I hope not. There's nothing to fight over.
It's already gone. Why are you there?
So what are we looking at? We've got Infinity Edge and Ruinance Hurricane on the Aphelios. He's going to be doing a ton of damage. He is immobile, so he's got to try and stay safe. And interestingly, yep, there it is. He's got Death Dance now as well with that last item spike. Vlad has Spellbinder, Zonias, and Hextech, so he is massive. Level 15. He's going to do a ton of AoE damage to the whole team. He's got mobility via that Spellbinder and the Proto Belt, so he's really going to be moving around nicely. I will say that the Echo also has Proto Belt, Stalker's Blade with Runic Echoes, and a Lich Bane, so he's also going to be doing a ton of damage. These fights should be pretty explosive, but
the thing is, though, Merlin, if you're talking about, I was just going to say it. You can say it if you want to, but a scaling, I'll take a scaling champion with 3 items over a mid-game, early-game spiking champion with 3 items any day of the week. If you're talking about a Vlad and the Aphelios with 3 items,
It's disgusting. The Vlad, I'm really worried about the Vlad.
Ooh, speaking of the Vlad, stunned up in the parallel convergence. Tomorrow might go down, forcing to pop the Zonies. He's pretty tanky in the Vlad. And meanwhile, Black's doing so much damage to the front line of Royal Griffin. Is it enough? Genji Ninja picking up a kill onto Sleepy Giant Panda. Tomorrow somehow living through all that. Devout has fallen as well. Now on the flank comes Maxwell, taking Black to the death realm. I'm not even sure if he wins it. It looks like he most certainly does. Black's got nowhere to go. He's got the Graviton gun available. Now Tomorrow is next into the Royal Griffin meat grinder. He's gonna go down. Meanwhile, those side look on the on the side lane. Split pushing away is going to pick up another inhibitor and issuing the grand challenge onto Shadell, looking for a kill as well, and he is going to get it. Another 1-for-1.
Absolutely, a nice fight by the Fiora. Like, again, just splitting. Ignore the team, and the team doesn't even have to win, right? They lost that fight, but you're still taking inhibs, and with 2 inhibs down, you can just macro the rest of this game. You need one more Drake to get Dragon Soul. Baron will be up in 1 minute, so that's the next real objective. And all you have to do is 5-man mid, let the super minions push the side lanes, and then fall back to Baron when you get a good opportunity. They should really be able to close this out, SandNinjas, with this kind of lead. I like it. Morgana's already sweeping Baron's side of the jungle, kind of prepping that 55-second timer. Hopefully they don't get picked off. It would be much more difficult to take Baron at a disadvantage in terms of numbers, so they do have to be careful and not kind of get picked off sloppily. But they do not really need to engage. They do not need to win a fight and go to Baron. They've already won enough fights. They just need to let their supers push. Right now, they seem to be holding Fiora in base with TP. That kind of implies they want to go for some sort of big play flank, which I hate. Given how far ahead you are, you do not need to go for a big play flank. She should just push bot lane. They don't even need to take Baron. All they need to do is threaten.
I love the way you said that, which I hate. You were just like, come on. You've been doing so well, Isaac. I thought you were listening to me. And maybe he has been listening, but he's going his own way now. And speaking of going your own way, Shadell, keeping Cyclops from going his own way with Change of Corruption. Into the back line goes Dave out, but he's all by himself. You have to imagine he's going to get collapsed on and killed here. Maxwell and Genji Ninja only now starting to stack up. And look at the base. Isaac is literally ending the game. This is the teleport play. It's not a flank. It's about ending. He's looking for the Nexus. Those Nexus turrets are melting. And Genji Ninja, Maxwell, they're on the retreat. They aren't able to recall. This is Royal Griffin running back to their base, and they're doing it too slow. Second Nexus turret dead. Isaac probably not going to get this. Is he going to? He's looking for a parry. Flashes for the grand challenge onto Shadell, but I think he's only looking for the heals, or is he looking for the fight? Finds Vital after Vital, double kill. It doesn't even matter if Isaac would have been, it wouldn't even matter if he died there. The rest of SandNinjas arrived on scene. Parry after parry. Shadell, or not Shadell, Isaac winning the game for SandNinjas. That was the teleport play, Merlin. That was it.
It worked. Isaac did a beautiful job there. And, you know, when he was banging on the base, I saw the other 4 SandNinjas start rotating in, and I was like, oh my gosh, they should take this opportunity to get Baron. But he ended up being able to solo everybody around the Nexus, and the rest of the team arrived just in time to be able to celebrate the victory.
And that was actually a really good victory too. I think it was anyway. There were definitely some mistakes made by both teams, but to me it felt for most of that game like SandNinjas just had better control over the map, even when they probably shouldn't have. And I don't know, if I'm Royal Griffin right now, I'm pretty scared for next game. I'm not sure. What do you do? What do you do to switch things up and stay in it?
Well, thank goodness we've got different pick bans, because, you know, I feel like Royal Griffin really needs to shake things up a little bit. And there's obviously, like, a lot of opportunity to do it. Lucian is an unconventional mid. You do not need to run an ADC into Vlad, because no matter how the first 10 minutes go, Vlad is going to take that lane over and do a lot of damage. And you lack burst from a Syndra or CC from a Veigar. You lack, you know, there's a lot of different things that mid lane position can provide for a team or a team fight, and Lucian provides very, very little. So I don't know that they need to go with a double marksman. I know that Mordekaiser is the main champ, the favorite champ for that Maxwell up top, but you've got to ban that Fiora, I think, because that was a solid split performance, and you do not want to face kind of a counter matchup top lane, even though he did really well into it. He didn't kind of feed. She never got so big that she could dive despite that level 2 kill. But I definitely think They want to shake things up. I think the Varus Leona was okay. I wish I had called out Echo's name more, but he did get some good work done. Some Drakes and some ganks, I think, that went well. But I feel like it would help maybe if they took something slightly more early game, maybe a Warwick, maybe an Olaf, maybe at a J4, something like that. Because he really needed to kind of get those side lanes rolling or that mid lane rolling.
Yeah, and that's sort of the heart of the problem, I think, for me, is, you know, you're running a Varus Leona bot lane, and when you have that sort of a lane, you want to play around that. You want to look to engage, force fights around the bot lane. You should have pressure. You should be able to make those fights come through. And for me, Sleepy Giant Panda was just a really big problem on the Morgana, right? The spell shields stuffed so much of Royal Griffin's threat early on to pick those fights, because Royal Griffin didn't have many other options available. So if there's something else you wanted to say, you can say it right now and you can cut me off and interrupt me. But otherwise, we are going to go to a break. So thank you everyone for sticking with us. Last thing, go for it.
Last thing, Royal Griffin banned Yuumi. And just like you say, if you're going to, you ban Yuumi and Kai'Sa. I say give him the Kai'Sa, ban the Yuumi and the Morgana, because that Morgana was a huge pain in the lane and in the game.
All right, and for Rapcore in the chat, this is Ionia. Yes, Srisai is not lying to you. It is Ionia. So these teams are bouncing around the bottom to the middle of Ionia right now, and Royal Griffin is basically trying not to get relegated. They've won their first series of the season last night, and they're trying to win a second one, but so far it's not looking too good. They got to claw their way back into it. Will they succeed in that? Well, time will tell. We just finished game number 1, and SandNinjas definitely stuck it to RGM. Will they do it in game number 2? We will be back in just a few minutes to find out. In the meantime, don't go anywhere. It'll be just a few minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I told you it wouldn't be too long. Hopefully you aren't disappointed. It was maybe, I think, a minute or two longer than it was supposed to be, but we are back. We are here. We are ready to get into this draft for game number 2, and the pro draft has started. But before we get into that, I'll just quickly reintroduce myself. I am Baymax, for those who may have forgotten or who are new, and I am casting this evening with my fellow friend and caster, Mr. Merlin. How's it going, Merlin?
Going great. I'm excited to get into this game too. I do love best of 3s. I know there are a lot of streams that just do 1s, but this best of 3 allows for pick and ban evolving. And so far, we have seen some adjustments made by Royal Griffin, like the Fiora ban. I think that's smart given how strong she was in that first match and how she ran those side lanes all the way down to the inhibitor on multiple sides of the map.
Yeah, Isuck was sort of a monster on that pick, especially after you told him, "Hey, you might want to be split pushing." He was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. This is a split pusher." I think he heard you. I think he was listening.
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, we still got Yasuo, Zoe, Renekton bans, which are
Echo
similar.
taken away.
Yeah.
Echo taken away from Genjin Ninja. Could see the Wukong locked in first. It looks like it is gonna get locked in here. So, not 100% sure where that one's actually gonna end up going. Could be top or jungle, or even bot lane, right? I don't know if you're watching, but yesterday, I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. Anyway, point being, I was watching a competitive game, a high elo, I think LEC game, and there was a Wukong Senna bot lane picked, and it did well. It did really well. They won pretty hard with the Wukong Senna, so definitely something to keep an eye on. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. Could be Wukong Senna bot lane.
I'm guessing it's in the jungle, but I would love to see a Wukong Senna bot lane. As it is, we already see some significant deviations from the first game. Kai'Sa was a ban by Royal Griffin in game 1, and now instead of Black being on Aphelios, he's going to be on his comfort pick. He's going to be on that Kai'Sa. Scales really well, benefits from the attack speed buffs, and because Royal Griffin did not ban the Yuumi, we see Yuumi getting picked up as well.
Not just the Yuumi, right? Ezreal Yuumi. And not just anybody's Ezreal either. This is Black on Ezreal. And he had a pretty strong performance on the Aphelios last time around. We'll see if he can do even better with the Traveling Explorer, whatever his title is. I think it's something like that.
So we've got a Kai'Sa pick with Lulu and a Hecarim in the jungle. So I actually like Royal Griffin's draft so far. They have not picked their top mid going into the back half of the draft. Also, they're targeting the mid laner who hasn't been chosen yet. So they've got the Vladimir ban, which I think is good. I wouldn't hate a Mordekaiser ban from Royal Griffin. Take that top laner off his comfort pick and make him, dive a little bit into that champ pool to come out with something. We'll see what their final ban is. The set. Which is okay. I mean, that is a champ that is in SandNinjas repertoire. I just don't know that that's necessarily what they're going to go. And there's the Mordekaiser ban on the part of SandNinjas going against the Royal Griffin side. All right, so Royal Griffin, they get to counterpick one lane, and they have to blind pick one lane. I assume we're going to see a mid lane blind and a top lane counter. Let's see what they start with, and that'll dictate how SandNinjas responds.
Well, by the way, yesterday, all 3 games that we saw played, whoever was on red side won. So, if we're keeping in tradition, first game of this series, SandNinjas on red side won. Second game, Royal Griffin on red side. If that's indicative of anything, we might be going to a game 3 of just throwing it out there. We are seeing Vayne hovered now.
This is a
Black.
top lane Ornn counter. I don't know though.
Xerath locked in instead. Could still pick the Vayne. That's a
Xerath is the blind. They just want more time to figure out who they want to run top lane. Ornn is tricky. He definitely scales well into the late game. I've seen Quinn into him. I've seen interesting. We see a Trundle.
A Trundle pick coming through here. Definitely pretty interesting.
So Trundle's ult is a stat stealer. So he works amazingly well against an Ornn. And you could see him top lane against the Ornn, but you could also see him in the jungle because he's going to be effective late game stealing those stats coming out of the jungle or coming out of top lane. So I think that Trundle Wukong is kind of flexible between that mid top. Xerath, pretty safe artillery mage, can kind of stay at range, and they needed to blind someone. I don't know if Royal Griffin doesn't have assassins, but the counter for something like that is like a Talon or an assassin that can kind of really get through to him through the range. Instead, they've got Nazir, which is going to be farmy, I would expect. But if he can get on top of the Xerath will be pretty squishy. On the other hand, Xerath's got that amazing poke, and if he can kind of whittle Azir down and maybe call some help in from the jungle, he could potentially get kills that way.
So, which team comp do you think outscales here? Because I'm not 100% sure. Both teams have heavy scaling elements. Azir, Ornn, and Kai'Sa all scaled ridiculously well, but it can be almost impossible to outscale an Ezreal Yuumi. So, I mean, I think it depends on the team comps and if you have a way of really locking down those picks. And I don't know if I'm seeing Royal Griffin have enough this time around to sort of. I think they might fall into some of the same problems they had last time around, where they just could not really kill Black. But
right.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. I mean, I feel like there's not a strong identity for Royal Griffin. Like, I like Lulu into stuff like LeBlanc or Talon or Rengar.
It's not bad into Wukong.
It's not bad, but, you know, Lulu is a single counter to an assassin who's going to dive and annihilate your ADC. Wukong is like an AoE bruiser, and if he gets on your backline, he's still going to like wreak havoc, even if you are able to save your ADC. But I feel like, I like the SandNinjas comp a little better. Like, no one is ever going to get on that UES, and I think Trundle for the stat stealing against the Ornn. If it looks just front to back fights, I think the SandNinjas have the edge. I think the way Royal Griffin might be able to kind of turn things around is if that Hecarim can get flanks. He does a ton of damage, really effective on the current patch, got some recent buffs. It'll be interesting to see summoners. I have seen Ghost smite on jungle Hecarims before. He moves super fast and does a ton of damage. And the scaling, I guess, can be effective. Kai'Sa, Azir, Ornn, super scalers. But I'm afraid, I'm just not sure the game is going to go that long. And I feel like in terms of objective control, I don't know. I
we'll
guess,
see. I will say, don't count out GinjaNinja's Hecarim. Right, this guy popped off in the last game last night when Hail Spades were facing off against RGM, and I was 100% convinced in that game, and I would still stand by it. Halo Spades had the better team comp. They were very far ahead, and GinjaNinja ended up just running over everyone because he got a second item on Hecarim. He got that Triforce, and he just rolled over everyone. So if we're talking about diving in the back line, GinjaNinja, maybe Hecarim's a champion is okay at that. He's pretty good at that. GinjaNinja on Hecarim taking it to another level. This guy knows how to get on top of backlines. So I'm definitely not going to count him out.
Absolutely. I mean, Hecarim's a great champ for that. And of course, all of these games come down to execution. There's no single team comp that's just going to win. This is, individual skill and player comfort matters a lot. And I will say that GinjaNinja's played a lot of games on Hecarim. At least 3 out of his last 8 or 9 have been on Hecarim for solo duo queue. So he's been working on this, given the latest buffs. And I think that a lot's going to come down to this jungle play and counterplay. I will say, I think that Royal Griffin probably have priority in a lot of lanes. Like, I think the Kai'Sa Lulu should be able to push. The Azir should be able to push. Unless they lose priority bot lane.
I'm a little less sure about the Azir, but I think you're right about the Kai'Sa Lulu.
Yeah, Azir to Xerath, yeah, maybe not. But maybe they can get some of the rotations for those early Drakes as well. Because that would make a big difference if they could kind of capitalize on bot rotations and keep Black pinned under turret for a little bit. That could make a big difference for sure. I think it should be a great game, though. It should be interesting. We've got some nice team comps. We've got some players to watch out for. I really want to see what side of the map they start on. Last time, SandNinjas were able to get a huge start because they started Sejuani topside and bot got the early level 2 by pushing. I want to see whether they're able to do the same thing or whether Royal Griffin kind of wise up to that trick and maybe start Hecarim on the top side. So
Well, we'll see. I don't know, if you were Cyclops last game, you got a Sejuani and a Fiora versus a Mordekaiser. That is a very attractive gank if the Mordekaiser is pushing right. You have all the damage you need from the Fiora to kill him, all the setup from the Sejuani. What could go wrong? Mordekaiser is not that safe of a champion, especially early on. Here, though, Smaxwell's on Ornn this time around, so I definitely... And Isaac's on Trundle, who is has not got that much to support a gank early. Like, neither Cyclops nor Isaac really have a way of locking Smaxwell down and keeping him in lane for the gank. And neither of them have a ton of damage early either, especially versus an Ornn, who is going to be pretty tanky, especially if he can proc Aftershock if he takes it. So we'll see. I think the top lane gank is not necessarily as great of an idea this time around as it was last game. Looking towards the mid lane, though, I would definitely think that tomorrow is going to have pressure in that lane, although, again, I could be wrong. Okay, I think of that lane as sort of a skilled matchup, but I also hate Azir. So if you factor in my bias, towards I hate laning against Azir, then probably Xerath has got a slight edge in the matchup. That makes sense, right?
I think Azir does have an edge in the matchup. I mean, Azir should just never be able to get on him. And, I think trying to land an Azir ult on a Xerath requires you cover, 1,200 units, and there's just no way to get that far across. The way you make that work is you get Hecarim coming in behind next to the turret, and pushing Xerath towards the middle of the lane into Azir. That's the best you're going to be able to hope for. I agree. I do think though
that that's a good lane. Like Ginja Ninja, that he's probably going to be looking mid lane. Like
absolutely.
The same way that Cyclops doesn't necessarily want to go top. I think that like tomorrow could be free ganks, especially if he's pushing.
Yeah, I think Hecarim and Ornn probably have enough damage against a Trundle. So the thing about Ornn is, with Wukong Trundle top jungle pair, is that they're both AD. So when he itemizes, he's itemizing against two champs, and that makes him really strong against 2v1 versus something like a Elise or an Echo. So I really think the Ornn is going to be safe. He does set up ganks reasonably well. He does have some CC and slows, and people underestimate the amount of damage Ornn has. So I think Ginja Ninja on Hecarim could go either top or mid, and I think probably get some flashes, get some successful ganks. We haven't talked about the bot lane yet. Black on Ez, I think, should be very, very strong. And like, if we don't even think about jungle intervention and jungle pressure, the mechanics on the Aphelios, I mean, they were pretty strong on...
I'm going to cut you off. We'll talk about bot lane when we get into the game, but we got to go to a break. I'm so sorry, Merlin, but we're going to take to a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a couple minutes here. Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 of tonight's best of 3 in the Ionia group with SandNinjas versus Royal Griffin. Royal Griffin lost game number 1. They're looking to redeem themselves this time around, and keeping with tradition, they are hoping to continue winning on the red side of the map. Hopefully they can do that. I am Baymex. I will be the play-by-play caster this evening. I am joined on the cast by Merlin himself, one of our newer color casters. How's it going, Merlin? What are you thinking about this game?
I think that this should be a great one. I like that Royal Griffin decided to change over and play on the red side. I think getting that last pick will help them. And I think that we've got interesting comps on both teams. Some switching being made on top side. We've got tanks instead of the Fiora, but I think this is like a good second game. I will say, just from a macro perspective, you saw SandNinjas move in for forward wars on the top side in the last game, and I really wish they had stacked 5-man, because they did it again, and those like very repeatable tendencies are exploitable. And here it's going again. They're starting top side on the jungle, and the bot side is going to be able to push freely, and that really is going to hurt the Royal Griffin bot lane to not be able to hit level 2 first and to be pinned under turret early. I really think that they've just got to, in this scenario where the bot lane is getting early pushes because the jungler is starting on the top side, you just have to go to lane and not leash your jungler. You're just giving up too much on the bot lane by not being there level at the start of the lane.
Well, we'll see. Hecarim's got pretty solid early clear as well, if I'm not mistaken, so probably could manage without a leash. I don't know that one for sure, though, but I think most junglers worth their salt can manage without a leash, actually. Like, if you can't manage without a leash, you're probably not a jungle champion. You might be like Yumi or something else.
Absolutely. And look, Lulu's already down to half health. Like, she's just going to have significantly reduced lane presence.
Oh, Shaydell taking so much damage as well. Yeah, Black and Sleepy Giant Panda, we talked about champs, like, they probably shouldn't have the push, but you're, like, 100% right, because of how that level 1 worked out. And Shaydell and Devout, I guess, probably unwisely trying to contest that level 1 now and push the wave back. They just lost so much lane pressure.
Right. I mean, you know, they still have pots, or they had pots, and now it's less for both the ADC and support. But this Ez lane, it's pokey, and they love to drive you under turret where he can throw Qs kind of freely. So, you know, with the Yumi, it's super safe. He can trade HP and it not really affect him overall. So you know, this is just going the way SandNinjas wants in the bot lane.
Top lane, Maxwell setting up for a gank from Ginja. Ghost has been popped. Isaac pretty far forward, got the flash available. You predicted the gank, and here it is. First blood going over to Ninja on this horsey.
I do not understand why Trundle didn't burn flash there. Like, the knockback is dependent on like perfect timing, and Hecarim is going to get carried forward by the skill regardless of whether he connects or not. So I think, you know, it's difficult. It is difficult. But if the timing's right, I think you can still get out. Now, Trundle does have teleport, so you really only get behind top lane when you die without teleport and you start missing waves and you start losing levels. So that did not happen. So
I think I want to point out, though, like, you're right. I suck, not necessarily going to be very behind after that gank, but I'm just saying, I talked about Ginja Ninja's potential to carry on this champion. Now Ginja Ninja is going to be ahead, right? Because he got that early kill, he got that gold. So, you know, top lane is still going to be relatively even. It's going to be a slugfest between Maxwell and Isaac, but now Ginja Ninja got the kill. It's sort of going to be on him to sort of transition that lead to the rest of the map.
Absolutely, and I think that that's the plan all along, is to kind of get that jungler fed. And I think the plan, and maybe they're executing it, Royal Griffin, is for the bot lane to survive. You know, they're not looking to play through their bot lane necessarily. They know they're up against 2 diamond players in this bot side. I will say that the wave is in very bad position right here. If they can't push this under, they risk getting completely frozen out for a long time. So Ez is going to be thinning the wave, and all right, Kaisa got the crash, so that's huge. It gives them an opportunity to recall if they want. So all of the poke that Ez was able to get down is negated if they can get a free bag. Looks like they're sticking it out, though, trying to get to a better item spike.
Recall already coming through for Genjin. You got the Bomby Cinder picked up. Gonna go Cinder Hulk, which is pretty standard on Hecarim Jungle now. I like it. And gonna speed up clear significantly. Shadow's taking a lot of damage bot lane. Getting poked out. That is, you know, there's no real way for Black or Giant Panda to really force an all-in and secure a kill. Now top lane, though, Ninja, he has got plenty of potential to secure a kill, forcing a flash out of Isaac. Flash is traded from the top laners, but you know what? Ninja, he's going to see Isaac's flash down, and I'm sure that he is going to look to abuse that.
Absolutely. I kind of wish he just went back right now or tried to contest for a dive because, you know, that's a huge target on his head. And Trundle had no wards. He was just able to get one down. And I think the Ornn probably still needs a little bit of protection. That Trundle with a longer lane can potentially 1v1. I will say that the bot lane has done much, much better. At this point in the last game, I think SandNinjas had a pretty significant lead. And at this point, you know, it's just a 7 CS lead. That's, you know, nothing, I think, for bot lane. Very, very little. So
yeah, there were pretty massive CS leads across the board, actually, for SandNinjas around this time. Although, you know, Dragon taken away by Cyclops, and still about a 20 CS lead top lane as well.
Right. Dragons are good. They set up the timer for Soul, but in terms of like stats and raw power, I think it's totally fine to give the first one. Also, Hecarim's been playing around the top side. He knows that that was where he was going to be able to get fed, get kills. And I think that when you kind of make that decision, you're kind of giving up first Drake. He did walk over a pink ward in the Pixel Brush twice. And that is one of the most popular places to stuff up pink ward. So I hope he either goes back to clear or, you know, eventually picks up that that's there. Also, Trundle Flash, it's a 3-minute cooldown. It's 1/3 of the way back up. I want to make sure that he gets that repeat gank.
Might not even need the repeat gank. I suck getting clapped in the top lane. Call the Forger coming out from Smaxwell. One more tick of damage will do it. And there it is. Smaxwell finding a solo kill for himself top lane while 20 CS down.
Maxwell, it looks like an appropriately named champion at this point. That was a very nice solo kill. You know the flash is down. I still think that with the minute and a half they have left, they could probably go back. I wish that he had possibly stayed to push that wave, and it looks like he is going to come back and push that wave. It was awkwardly positioned. Again, the thing that puts you ahead topside is getting the minion lead, getting the XP lead, getting levels, or in particularly because once he hits that 13, he gets so much stronger. So failing to push that in really doesn't push the lead as much as you want. As it is, Trundle's really missing a lot more minions and XP, which is what you need to do to capitalize on the kill that you got.
For sure. And now, like you mentioned, Flash still down on Isaac for about probably another minute and a half at this point. And teleport up for Smaxwell. Ghost is back up for Ninja, and Ninja has remade his way back towards the top side of the map, and Herald has spawned. So,
yep,
yeah.
It looks like perfectly set up for that topside gank before the Trundle's flash comes back up. I will say that we just saw the Yuumi ult bot side as well. They were unable to get anything done with it. I don't know whether they're just kind of pushing hard or feeling the pressure because they, you know, SandNinjas is playing around bot side, and at this
look
point,
at top side though. Isaac's got no vision. Ninja's here. He's got the ghost. There's no flash for Isaac. Certainly going to be a kill. Another one picked up for the headless horseman, or the headed horseman. Actually, I think he does have a head.
I really like the summoner spell tracking by Royal Griffin. That's kind of an advanced thing. Not everybody pays attention to it, but they clearly know when the Trundle has his ult back up. And at this point, Trundle's 0-3. He's up against Bramble Vest, Bomby Cinder into Ornn, who has full health and full mana and can build on the fly, has no need to recall. He's starting to take plates. And Hecarim is transitioning this into a Herald, which is exactly what you want to do when you have topside pressure. Topside pressure, get Herald. Botside pressure, get Drakes. So, you know, really executing on their strategy, Royal Griffin at this point.
Yeah, credit to Royal Griffin. Like you said, we wanted to see Ninja exploit that flash being down, and he did. Now looking bot side, Cyclops, he's level 7. He's got the Cyclone. He is going to use it, forcing a flash and a heal out of Shadell and Dave Vouts. That's not bad, but no kills going on.
We've got a little bit more action top side, maybe forcing it a little bit too much, trying to get something else done on that top side after collecting Herald.
not quite gonna get anything though. It's like you said, maybe forced a little bit too hard. Still though, Call of the Forge God did end up being used, but it's not on a super long cooldown, and I don't think you want to drop that Herald top lane anyway, so maybe you won't end up hurting that much. Dragon spawning in under 60 seconds though might be a big cooldown for Maxwell to not have.
Right. Wukong is at Wolves, and Hecarim just walked by him so far, hasn't seen him.
But bot lane is all in. Final chapter. That's Shaydell dead, going down. He has just got annihilated by that empowered W from Black. And now again, coming to from Genji Ninja is going to use the Onslaught of Shadows. So much healing coming through from Sleepy Giant Panda. Genji Ninja is just not able to make anything stick. Double teleports from Smaxwell and Heacher, though. They are on the scene. Cyclops might be going down, but he's just healed up so much. Suck now next in the sights. Genji Ninja picking up that one on Killing Spree. A pretty nice Shurima shuffle into an Emperor's Divide. Keeps Heacher just out of harm's way, but Black and Giant Panda not quite so lucky. A triple kill for Genji Ninja, but traded back just as quickly as it was arrived. Now Devout, they're gonna eat an Arcana Pulse. Might just barely stay alive. Cyclops going for the dive, but committing for that 1-for-1. Gonna get killed by that tower. A 4 for 3 across the map, but tomorrow might not even be done yet. Another Arcana Pulse trying to find Heacher. Now on the flank is Shaydell. Does have the Killer's Instinct available. He can look for a solo kill. Tomorrow has no mana. There goes the Killer's Instinct. Icathian Rain gonna be putting in a lot of damage in just a few seconds, but it diverts onto the Scuttle Crab, and Tomorrow getting just enough mana from his passive to find an Arcana Pulse that almost kills Shaydell. Bottom line is nobody dies. Shaydell does end up burning the exhaust. A 4 for 3 at the end of the day. Royal Griffin probably coming out on top.
That was a beautiful turnaround by Tomorrow with no mana. And again, you're really asking for it with these mid laners going in with no mana, no life.
Oh, Heacher. Heacher,
yeah, that was
not respecting. I'm not gonna lie. I get what he's trying to do. He needs to get that wave shoved in for Dragon and just to recall, but sometimes you just gotta give it up. Sometimes you just gotta give it up.
No, he wasn't looking for that for the wave pushed in. He was looking for the kill. He was just too greedy.
Oh yeah, that is just too greedy. Just too unfortunate. Call the Forge God mid lane, by the way. Speaking of being greedy, trying to force Tomorrow off this turret. Royal Griffin, they're looking to cement a turret after they already walked in and got that dragon, but turret pudding still available, and Cyclops showing up to that mid lane turret means that Royal Griffin not going to get too much. I think they got a 160 gold line in their pockets. Herald drop though.
I think that's smart.
A couple more plates.
Right. This is pre-14. They're going to get more plates off of it. I think this makes a lot of sense. Just because of the awkwardness of the lanes, they ended up rotating Azir top, which is fine. Ornn's going to stick it out mid for a little bit. He won't have as good a time against Azir, and he has not itemized any MR, but it should be okay. It looks like they're already trying to switch back. So state of the game, we got a really even in terms of gold. CS differences, we've got a 10 CS lead by the Xerath and 40 now, a 40 CS lead on Ezreal, and they're going in.
Yeah, final chapter again. Wow, that's a lot of damage from the True Shot Barrage. Not just the True Shot Barrage, of course, the Essence Flux doing quite a bit as well. Shaydell and Devout trying to stay alive and having a hard time in this lane.
They are, but it is okay to spend your life. I mean, they have, it's 1342. They didn't give a single plate. They might give up one here, maybe two before plates fall off, but that's a win. That's a win for this lane, just kind of holding them relatively.
Really, though? They're 50 CS behind.
I know, but they've had no jungle pressure. They're 5 kills up on their jungler. So I think that they kind of traded any, early game relevance from their bot lane for like a massively fed Hecarim. And that is not necessarily a bad trade. Like, Hecarim should be able to neutralize that bot lane if he plays it well.
I think you're right. I will say someone has got to get Grievous Wounds. I think Genji Ninja needs an Executioner. It's not bot lane. Black is probably going to get shut down. Call the Forge God from Maxwell. Going to be Arcane Shifted, but it doesn't matter. Genji Ninja has arrived. Going to use the Onslaught of Shadows. Finding a Fear. Ignite is going to cut down the healing from Giant Panda. First one to fall. Black, big shutdown gold, going over onto Genji Ninja and Sleepy Giant Panda to follow. 7 and 1 now on Hecarim. Cyclops trying to return the favor. Bot lane Devout dead before he can even use his Wild Growth. It's just barely not off cooldown yet. Shaydell left to clear the wave by himself. 2 for 1 across the map. Still definitely in favor of Royal Griffin.
Yeah, I think Royal Griffin is going to be happy if they just get their bot lane, farmed up in side lanes. But that Hecarim can handle the Azumi. The Ezumi's good, it's fast, it's got one good arcane shift, but if his flash is down, Hecarim can absolutely cover the distance. He's got the damage. He's got Cinder Hulk. He's not going to be easy to take down. He's got Sheen for the damage burst. And it's a free 2 kill. So, you know, if you can get the Ez, the Yumi just falls off and flops around until she dies. So they have to be careful. They have to track the jungler. If you do not track the jungler, I think Ez is just going to die.
We'll see. I think you're right. The one thing I will say is it's scary for Royal Griffin that so much of their lead, basically all of their lead, is on Ginja Ninja. Almost everyone else is behind. And theoretically, if you're looking at this, I would think that like Ginja Ninja being ahead when everyone else is behind is probably not going to be enough. SandNinjas have so many tools to peel off Ginja Ninja, right? They've got Cyclops, who's actually got a surprising amount of cog control with the Cyclone. Yumi as well to keep Black and Tomorrow alive, who already have some cog control of their own. We'll see though. Black
all right, here we go. Another fight top
lane again. Ginja Ninja looking for the gank and gonna be dodged out by the arcane shift though. I think maybe a little bit of questionable positioning from Ginja Ninja on that one, but not bad from Black Majesty keeping himself alive. Might push for turret here.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think they can take turret. They're just looking to kind of farm back and forth on that top side. But I really thought the Hecarim would be able to get more done with that engage. Ez was able to arcane shift to the side in such a way that he didn't really get pushed back the way you were hoping. Also, I don't think Onslaught of Shadows was up yet, and he really needs his ult to kind of fear his opponent away. We've got Azir top side now, just kind of clearing waves, and they have rotated their bot into mid. I will say, Azir took a massive amount of poke from that Ez, so strong in this mid game. Even without a lot of items. All he has right now are boots. He does have a completed man immune and a Sheen.
Definitely getting kind of scary, right? We already saw how much damage Black can do on this Ezreal, and like you said, you know, he's got the man immune finish in the Sheen, but that Sheen is soon going to become an Iceborne Gauntlet or a Triforce, and the man immune will be stacked eventually, but hasn't been stacked yet. And right now, Maxwell trying to force a fight, misses the call. The Forge God Icesuck taking a pretty good amount of damage, but it's traded right back from Black, and now Tomorrow popping out the right of the Arcane, finds one kill onto Devout before he even gets the Wild Growth off. Ginja Ninja forced to Onslaught of Shadows over the wall. Maxwell next in line to die, using that Searing Charge, trying to get himself to safety, but gonna go down. Black Master picking up that one. Final chapter used just to put the last nail in the coffin on that one. 3-0. SandNinjas turn everything right back around.
Absolutely. I didn't see the start of that fight. I'm not sure why the Ornn ult didn't come through. Was he said by
he just missed. I think he just missed.
So that's definitely the engage they wanted. I mean, Hecarim blast coned over, and they had Trundle a little bit isolated early. But the team fighting was really nice on the part of SandNinjas. The Wukong was able to get in, and again, he's not going to kill everybody on his own, but he's going to set it up for the Xerath, for the Ez.
Teleport behind Maxwell. Could be trying to make something happen here. I think it could be the collapse. I don't think Royal Griffin can... yeah, they can't do anything with this. I should have cut you off. I'm sorry, I saw the teleport. I was thinking something's going to happen, but...
looks like they're going to try and collapse bot side on the Trundle instead. I think Trundle...
That was a nice pillar, but not good enough. Ginja Ninja got pretty good damage. Subjugation popped. Ginja Ninja actually losing the 1v1, but he was just buying time. Devout and Maxwell and Shadell have all shut up. The 4v1 Icesuck most definitely does not win. 8-1 now for Ginja Ninja. I can't help but wonder if that kill gold would have been better used on Shadell.
At this point, probably. But, you know, Trundle pushing up to the inner turret without adequate ward coverage. Nobody else is on the map. Really got to track the opponent team. If you don't see them, if they're all in fog of war, they're probably coming for you. And in that particular time, they were. And yeah, he can probably duel the Hecarim, but you're so deep in the enemy side of the map that they're going to be able to rotate, and you're never going to be able to finish him off before he's got friends there helping him out. So I don't like the Trundle split push quite that deep. He does have Bork, which is nice, but he's way behind in terms of the game, in terms of like the relative strengths of the other champions on the board. He's 1-5, he's missed XP, he's 12 to Hecarim's 13. He can be Ornn in the 1v1, so it's a little bit hard for Royal Griffin to side lane against him, but I feel like when he's pushed up like that, he's playing...
All the Forge got top lane. Speaking of being pushed up, Tomorrow definitely pushed up way further than he has any right to be. Onslaught of Shadows under turret. Genji Ninja finding it was almost a solo kill. Now Isaac in the bot lane trying to duel it out with Teacher, but again, like you mentioned, he's just too far behind. 2 kills for free going over to Royal Griffin.
Right, so Isaac is not playing Fiora. He does not like massively fed, and he cannot 1v1 the whole map. So I think Trundle's hard to team fight with. And so I don't hate if he wants to stay in side lanes, but he has to only go up against the Ornn. And when he runs into somebody else, he has to run away and go push another side lane.
Speaking of the Ornn, Maxwell in a little bit of trouble up there. Final chapter being used to lock him down. Sleepy Giant Panda and Black picking up another kill, trading back, getting on the board. It's been the Royal Griffin show for a while, so why not get one back in favor of SandNinjas? But mid lane, Ninja and Shadell looking to punish by taking away this mid lane turret. Now a teleport behind them coming in from Isaac. This could be the collapse SandNinjas need, but Isaac, he's just so deep, he's all by himself.
So
Teleports right into Heater. Got the sub-data, keep him alive for a little while, but he is eventually gonna go down. Some nice art right of the arcane shots doing some good damage, but now it's Cyclops who has taken Isaac's place being ridiculously deep. Most likely going to go down. Might try to find a kill on Shadell first, but just doesn't have nearly enough damage. Team fight win going over to Royal Griffin. 1 kill does get traded back onto Heater though, and top lane Black is putting in work on this turret.
Yeah, I hear it's good to fight with your fed carry instead of having him run topside and split push. So, you know, I don't like that SandNinjas is taking these fights, although when Ez is just super strong, like the idea that he can...
Hold on a second. Black just used his arcane shift. Call the Forge God is up. We're probably going to see an engage here. Maybe not. Shadell's pretty far away. Nah,
he's fast.
Wrong.
He's fast. The arcane shift's on such a low cooldown. Super safe and a ton of damage. Completed Trinity Force, completed Man Immune. They need to fight around the Ez. And when they fought that mid-fight 2 minutes ago, they did not have the Ez. He was topside after killing the Ornn solo. And anytime you fight without, you know, fighting 3v4 without your carry, it's just not going to go well. So I feel like they're looking, SandNinjas is just looking to group up, get the side lanes pushing, and then either fight as 4 without the Trundle or even fight as 5. I know what it's like to be a 1-7-2 Trundle, and it's tough. Your relevance in the game at that point is relatively low, but you can still just push waves. Like right now, he's pushed bot as far as he can. He just needs to get to the top side, and instead, you know, he's a little bit exposed, getting seen by wards.
And he's dead again. Another call of the Forge God catching him out. Shadell picking up another kill here. By the way, while you were going on with your sermon there, not a bad lecture, but Genji Ninja found another kill, so if you could have mentioned that one. 11-1 now on the Hacker and Dragon started up. Second Dragon of the game for Royal Griffin. Looks like Cyclops going in for the steal. Not going to quite get it. Smited away by Genji Ninja, and he is going to go down for the effort. He's not the only one. Ghost and Onslaught of Shadows. Genji Ninja is so fast, but Final Chapter is going to slow him down right quick. You know who's not going to get slowed down though is Teacher, straight onto the back line, followed up by Killer Instinct. Everything is being thrown at Black Masu, and he is just not dying. Yumi, Giant Panda doing so much to keep him alive. Now Right of the Arcane has come through, and Royal Griffin are running for their lives. A double kill with the True Shot Barrage for Black. Genji Ninja looking for the re-engage. Good bit of damage from that charge, but it's just not enough. Look at the heals. Look at the shielding. Eventually, finally, Black and Giant Panda do go down 3 for 3 in this team fight. Dragon went over to Royal Griffin, but holy crap, look how hard it is to kill Black.
It is very hard to kill Black. They went in with so many ults on that initial engage, drove them all the way back to kind of the base wall, and were unable to really pin him down. I thought that Azir ult caught him for just a second, and then he was going to get pushed back into the team, but he was able to get out. And then he went on the offensive. His ult was beautiful. Picked up an Azir who is really map aware. I've been impressed with his ability to dodge the Xerath ults. So, you know, kudos for Black picking off those 2 kills. And then eventually, Giga Ninja comes back in and picks him off on the back end of the fight. Particularly with that Lulu ult. The Lulu ult for the extra knock-up CC really was what pinned him down for that final kill. But again...
That is a late Trundle, by the way, GK. That is...
So all you need to do, I feel like they just have to fight around that Ez. Like, imagine if Ez had, you know, teammates in that fight. even if they're just frontlining, if you get engaged with Wukong, which I don't think we've seen yet, where Ez can, free fire, I think that's really what you're looking for.
I definitely agree. If you got a Xerath and an Ezreal, like you need to get the poke down, right? You need to play around that siege control that you have, because that is a ton of siege. That's a ton of poke.
They don't have a tank. I feel like SandNinjas really needs someone to stand in front. Because if you can buy 5 or 6 seconds with a tank, I think Ez can do a lot of work. But as it is, there's no one. Everybody's building damage. We've got a Trinity Force and Stalker's Blade Warrior on Wukong, and Blade of the Ruined King on the Trundle, and everybody just evaporates the moment Hecarim gets on them. So I feel like it's actually going to be difficult for Ez to have a front line, for him to be able to free fire in a fight. I think given the nature of the team comp and the builds that people have gone, he's really going to be kind of in and out and running, and it's going to be kind of explosive. You've got Ornn, and Hecarim is going to be pretty tanky with the Sterix Gauge. Oh, and the Ornn upgrades have started to come on. So we've got Trinity Fusion on the Hecarim. 13, 1, and 2. Yeah, just a monster.
Yeah, that's terrifying. And I also want to mention, you have this Trinity Fusion 13-1 Hecarim that's got 3.5 items, and an Executioner is now picked up, bearing down on you. And guess what? Black and Sleepy Giant Panda used all their summoners in that last fight. Now, it's been a while since the last fight. Exhaust and Barrier are back up, but Flash and Heal still down, and Baron has been started. There is a ward by Royal Griffin. They are well aware this is happening. I don't think SandNinjas want this fight right now. Collapse coming through from Genjin Ninja. He's on the flank. Call the Forge Gun has been used pretty far away, though. Smaxwell not going to find anything with that. Ghost popped from Genjin Ninja, or about to be popped maybe. He hasn't actually popped it yet, forcing the clone to get out of Cyclops. For now, SandNinjas forced off of the Baron, but Isuck unanswered in the side lane. You know who is answered, though? Genjin Ninja going forward onto Tomorrow. He walked too far up. A nice snipe onto Devout means that at least Black has traded back 1 kill. 1 for 1. About to be picked up as Tomorrow goes down. So 1 for 1 thus far into the game. But it was a 5 versus 4. Remember, Isuck still in that side lane, taking away that turret. And now Maxwell and Genjin Ninja potentially going to turn onto Black. But he's got a final chapter. Yuumi, who's got that exhaust and got that heal back up now. Maxwell going to melt. Shade on the flank, trying to get him, but just can't get close enough. Now he's dead as well. A double kill for Black. Genjin Ninja and Heacher trying to finally get enough damage in to pick up this kill over the wall with the stream is shuffled, but it's not even good enough. Black, Arcane shifting away, now looking to re-engage. He's full HP again. Sleepy Giant Panda just keeping him alive through all of this damage, and still Isuck in the side lane just took an inhibitor and catching Genjin Ninja on the recall. He's dead. Black finding one more kill, finding another one. That's a delayed quadra kill. Then Isuck still unstopped in the side of the map. He's being just polymorphed and slowed down by Devout, but there's not really anything this little Lulu can do. The Lulu, the Yordle can't do much, but the turret can. You might want to go back to the drawing board on that one, Isuck, but regardless, I thought that looked good for Royal Griffin, but they just cannot kill this Ezreal.
Yeah, and, it's a... Diaz is continuing.
Oh my god, he's trying to 1v3. Almost finding Devout, but Black, you are way too greedy. Shut down, going over to Shaydell. A nice killer instinct to get him on the right side of that engage. Double kill now with Dragon spawning means that Royal Griffin might be able to get to this Dragon fast enough to contest it and to secure themselves third Dragon. Started up, though, by Cyclone and Tomorrow. It is melting fairly quick. I don't think it's quick enough. 3k on the Dragon. Now Tomorrow trying to zone Shaydell. Here comes the call to Forge. Got 1,000. Cyclops is going to pick that one up. Can he get back over the wall safely? Gonna have to burn his flash, but both members of SandNinjas do get out of that one. I think that Dragon was worth it. With Black and Sleepy Giant Panda, that's a lot of shutdown gold to give up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think at this point, maybe he felt like he had a bigger gold lead than he does. This game is actually still pretty close, and, Royal Griffin could conceivably be starting Baron here with a 5v3 on the map, even though they're down that 1 inhib. There are definitely ways they can win this game, and I don't feel like Black and SandNinjas are far enough ahead that they can kind of play around in the base or try to 3v2. I will say the split push on the Trundle, perfect. It doesn't matter if you're 1 in 9. If everybody else fights and ignores you, you can drive down a side lane. And this is true of any game in any lane. It doesn't necessarily have to be top lane, but if you are an ADC and you have gotten stomped in the game, and it's gotten to kind of mid-late game, you should split push and just take the free waves. You either get objectives or you can farm your way back to relevance. And so super good by the Trundle, and they are now an inhib up, which is going to put pressure on the bot side, allow them to potentially get Baron. You can see Azir's already rotating to bot side to pick up the supers. He will have TP in about 70 seconds, but until he does, it'll be a 5v4 on the top side of the map.
I want to point out, it's still only Ginja Ninja who has grievous wounds for Royal Griffin. I suppose the Bramble Vest counts, but, you know, how likely is Black Masu? He's probably not focusing Maxwell to start the fight. I think getting grievous wounds onto Heacher, onto Shadell could be really important. Now Ginja Ninja, they bounce. It's Maxwell trying yet again to kill Black Masu. They have caught him out. He's way too far forward. Call the Forge God layered crowd control. The big carry for SandNinjas is going to go down, and his little cat friend as well. 2 for nothing, and Royal Griffin should be able to run the map with those kills tomorrow. Hanging around a little bit too long. Ginja Ninja can maybe look for an engage here. Onslaught of Shadows to interrupt the stun. A fear that lasts an entire lifetime. Shadell now on a rampage. 3 for nothing. SandNinjas keep walking into the meat grinder one after another. Cyclops looks like he might be thinking about contesting this Baron, but I don't know if it's a good idea. 1 versus 3 Pink Ward in the pit. You cannot get close. You will get shredded if you even try. Maxwell making sure the zoning pressure is there. A good searing charge to knock up Cyclone before you can even or Cyclops before you can even think about getting close. That's 3 kills and a Baron going the way of Royal Griffin.
Really good. You know, Ez has Farsight alteration. Yumi's got pinks. I don't know how they get picked off at the top. That was a flank. Royal Griffin were able to hide in that brush forever, and Ez and Yumi just pushed up so far thinking they were safe and got collapsed on by 4. And yes, as you're fed, but out of position, 4v2, you're not going to be able to turn that around. I'll also say that Azir, we haven't called his name out a lot because he's done what he needs to correctly, which is match the Trundle. He can beat the Trundle in a 1v1. He needs to make sure that Trundle doesn't take free inhibs like that one earlier moment. So he matched him in the mid lane and let the other people on the map 4v4, which they can win. If they can get on that Ez, they can win. So I think the Azir, good macro, good position. He's laning correctly. Yeah, I think this is it's still such an even match. One pick, one good team fight. I think we might be able to see, you know, inhibs cracked on the other side as well. Here we're looking at another big flank. Look at Hecarim. Look at the positioning. Yeah. They're going to come in hard on that Ez in about 15 seconds.
Good old bait bush. Might have been snuffed out by the twin shadows though. Shadell and Dave getting slowed for about 10 years. And crucially though, Ginja Ninja still not spotted out. Going to be face checked by the sweeper. This could be a big fight if Black ends up walking into this bush. Ginja Ninja decides he's waited long enough. Going to go ahead and pop the charge. Still holding on to that onslaught of shadows. Nice redemption to top everybody up. Ginja Ninja still chunked to about half HP now as the Rite of the Arcane does come in, and the shots are just landing onto Heacher. Gonna drop to about 1/3 of his HP. Still though, mid lane pressure going over to Royal Griffin, but for how long? Shadell and Heacher and Ginja Ninjas maybe being forced to back off here.
All right, so I really don't like the positioning. Why didn't they send Azir to match the Trundle instead of the Ornn ult and the Ornn engage? You've got the Azir, and he's just not going to do what you need against this fight. So they finally rotated Azir up to the top side. He can match the Trundle. He's level 18 to Trundle 16. He can 1v1. But you need that Ornn with the team if you're ever going to pick off that Ez. So here we are. We got Azir and Trundle, and we've got 4v4 fighting over this last Drake. It's Soul for SandNinjas. So this is a must contest right here. And I think they should just pop the Ornn ult and go.
Well, we'll see. Baron or Dragon Control for now, seated by SandNinjas, dropping pretty low. True Shot Barrage not going to secure it. Going to go over to Ginja Ninja now. Teleport coming through from Heacher as Isaac has arrived on scene as well, and he is all by himself pretty far forward. Going to melt to the AK. He can rain them out, picking up that kill. Cyclops might be next in line. Exhaust going to tick him so very low. Heacher being jumped on by Black Masu, but the Exhaust is keeping him alive for a little bit of time. Now Black, he's separated from his Yordle for the time being as Tomorrow gets gunned down on the side flank of this fight. Ginja Ninja just doing what he can to shred the back backline. A 1 for 3 so far, but the 2 still alive are Black and Sleepy Giant Panda. So Royal Griffin maybe not feeling gutsy enough to re-engage, but you know who is? Black is looking to re-engage. Shaydale drops so low by the Arcane Shift over the wall, and Devout flashing away as well, but an Arcane Shift forward. Black is in a really dangerous spot. Smaxwell and Ginjinator trying to beat him down. Stairx Gauge pops, just making Ginjinja just tanky enough. A delayed ace for Royal Griffin. They pick up the dragon, and they pick up 5 kills.
Oh, that was, you know, I really, actually, I know it didn't go well, but I like the Ez re-engage. That Kai'Sa was under 100 HP, and that would really slow the push if you could get that one pick. So I kind of like that he went in, but they were able to regroup off that engage, and they were able to get 4 members to apply pressure. And I think it takes 4. It just takes all 4. But if you can get all 4 there, you can stop that Ez. I didn't really think about Lulu as like saving you from the assassin Ez, but that is her job right now, and she's doing it. From a macro perspective, I really wish they'd take that top turret. Late game, it's kind of hard to judge, but having an outer turret up in a side lane means you're forced back for it over and over again. And you know, right now they're sending 4 mid, and they've got the Kai'Sa top, which is okay so long as you're not trying to push, because you can't get anything done without your ADC. It looks like a slow wave is going to push that top side, so they might be able to get it. Trundle did a good job pushing bot side, knew he wasn't going to get more, recalled. We'll go back at it in a minute. Hopefully Azir pushes to that bot side and matches the Trundle while they 4v4 in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think both these teams sort of scared to overcommit for anything right now. It's a little bit under 60 seconds on this Baron, and a lot of level 8 teams starting to come through. Means death timers are very punishing. The next team fight could be the last one, or at least the next to last one. I think a Baron at this point in the game could just about seal the deal for whoever picks it up. And if not the Baron, then perhaps the Dragon Soul, or at the very most, the Elder Dragon. 37 minutes into this game, you gotta think we're starting to get down to the final, to the last straw here, the final few minutes. And for now, top lane turret still being defended by Black. Gonna walk up there with Giant Panda to clear that wave, so not gonna fall quite yet. And vision control in the river for now in the hands of the SandNinjas.
I will say, I was just looking at items and the Ornn upgrades, and the only person he has not upgraded anything for is the Kai'Sa. Which is, you know, very strange, because Kai'Sa is the person you're going to be, like, dishing out the most damage for. I don't know whether she's just not itemizing something that's upgradable, but she's 3.5 items in. I guess she's waiting for that IE, and he's going to have to wait for level 18. But really, was upgrading the Redemption to Salvation really the most important thing to do there? Or, I don't know. I just feel like something went wrong in a 38-minute game with an Ornn that's level 17 and an ADC missing an Ornn upgrade.
Yeah, you know, doesn't have anything to upgrade until, like you said, the Infinity Edge, which is going to get picked up probably relatively soon, but I don't know if it's going to be soon enough, because right now, Baron in contention has spawned on the map. Isa currently uncontested bot lane. Heacher has roamed over, so Royal Griffin, if they want to pick this fight, it's do or die time. Their inhibitor is being threatened. They say it's do time. Call the Forge God. Ginjinja onto the backline. Onslaught of Shadow still being held. Eventually going to come out, but he's stunned up for so long by the final chapter. Tomorrow going to go down. Black still alive on the side, but Cyclops is next into the meat grinder, and Black is alive, but he's just not got the damage. But look who does have the damage. I suck onto these Nexus turrets. First turret dead. Are we going to see another back door? We are not, because Heacher has arrived on site. He's got the Emperor's Divide. He says, no, you cannot touch my Nexus. And now Black Masu and Sleepy Giant Panda on their own, trying to prevent 4-member strong Royal Griffin from taking away this Baron and potentially sealing the deal on the SandNinjas series here, or taking them to a game 3 anyway. Baron dropping low. Black, perhaps unwisely, looks like he might be thinking about contesting here. Smaxwell popping the stone plate, looking to go in. Call the Forge God almost back off cooldown, actually, but going to be about 20 seconds on that one. Shiddle maybe trying to hunt down with the Killer Instinct. Stream of Shuffle not going to quite get into range for Heacher. Black just running for his life, running low on mana. But again, side lane uncontested. Dragon spawning as well. Remember, this is Dragon Soul for both teams, and it's now been started up by Black, but the rest of SandNinjas is so very far away. You've got to imagine this is going to be going over to Royal Griffin. While it looks like we might actually see a backdoor attempt from Black here. Royal Griffin, you've got to recall. Smaxwell is arriving on the scene, so looks like gonna get there in time. What a crazy game. Oh my god.
It is definitely a crazy game, and you feel like with all the kills that Royal Griffin have been able to get and the Baron that they've got this, but there are no there are no Nexus turrets anymore. So you've got to worry about a backdoor. And as Yumi is fast, they will carve that Nexus up in about 8 seconds. So it is still
8
not a
seconds.
clear
You think
win.
that long?
We may find out.
We'll see.
Nice execution on the fights. It looks like they're just... Oh, we got another flank coming in by the Hecarim.
Oh, call the Forge God. This could be the fight the Royal Griffin need. Black 4-star king shipped out already. Shaydell dominating. Nobody on SandNinjas currently in a position to threaten the back door. But look, Black is running up. Do see some recalls coming in. Remember, their Baron and Power recalls coming through. Fork, Ninja, and Smaxwell trying to defend this Nexus turret. And still no minion wave. No
That's
minion
the
wave for
perfect recall, though.
SandNinjas.
They sent Hecarim and Azir back, and they left Lulu to push with
The
Kai'Sa.
engage coming through. Onslaught of Shadows finding the fear onto Black Master. He might drop. Healing coming through from Sleepy Giant Panda, dropping him so low. GA pops. Maxwell gonna go ahead and use the Stone Plate. Shutdown kills traded. Heater and Isa killing each other, but Black forced to run away. Now teleport coming through from Smaxwell. Royal Griffin looking to end the game and take it to a game 3. First Nexus turret in their sights. Black is trying to backdoor and look for something, but he's got Genji Ninja hot on his heels. First Nexus turret dead. Second Nexus turret about to die. Cyclops trying to use the Cyclone to buy his team some time, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. Shaydell is hitting this Nexus. Black Master returning the favor, but that is not good enough. You cannot outbase race 4 members. Royal Griffin, they are taking this series to a game 3.
Oh, what a excuse me, what a fantastic game. I will say that Ez was not going for the base race. Hecarim stopped his back. It was perfect. He found him in the jungle and prevented him from rejoining the team and trying to defend that Nexus. I feel like Royal Griffin, in that moment where you have to send someone back, it's often really difficult to pick exactly the right comp to go back. And they did a brilliant job. The Kai'Sa Lulu to push, everybody else to defend. It was exactly like, I don't think any other combination would have worked. Kai'Sa couldn't do it alone. Yeah, I'm really impressed with that late game decision. It's really hard to make those correct on the fly, but they did a great job. I really feel like they earned this. Being down 3 Drakes to 2, coming back getting Soul, multiple Barons. Just a really fun game. I'm glad I got to cast it.
I definitely agree. All credits to Royal Griffin on how they played the last couple minutes of that game especially. And it's in such stark contrast to game number 1. Because I feel like game number 1, it was SandNinjas that they were the ones making the decisive, confident macro decisions, sometimes catching Royal Griffin maybe a little bit off guard. You know, they were the ones that had control over the map. And this time around, Royal Griffin, you said it right there. At the end of the game, they had the confidence. They were rotating quickly. They were catching members out, and they were the ones that put the final nail in the coffin of this game. And like I said it already. I'll say it again. We are going to a game 3, and I didn't think that was what was going to happen. I'm not going to lie. After game 1, I was pretty convinced that SandNinjas were going to go to a 2-0. They just looked better, in my opinion, but you know what? That's not what happened last night. That's might not be what happens tonight. We'll see, but game 3, here we come.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I've been informed by my, I forgot about this. I've been informed by Axeman, the lovely voice in my ear, our beautiful host, who you guys should give him love. He's in chat all the time. I've been informed by him that I should probably tell you guys that it looks like we are going to be switching up our play-by-play caster. I am going to be replaced by the lovely Jarl Carl. So give him my love when we end up coming back. We are going to be going to a short break for the next few minutes. When we return, game 3 of SandNinjas versus Royal Griffin, and you're gonna have Merlin and Jarl Carl bringing you the hype for that game. So don't go anywhere. A few minutes, and we'll be right back.
Thanks.
Legends never die. When the world is calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll rot into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world's calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you never see the price it costs. The scars collected all their lives. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat. Before it all starts, they suffer through harm just to touch a dream. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world's calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. When the world is calling out your name, begging you to fight. Pick yourself up once more. Pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die. When the world's calling you, can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die. They become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die.
Welcome to a world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to a war we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember
Welcome back, Style Esports fans, to the third game here in the best of three between Royal Griffin, Majesty, and the SandNinjas. I am picking up where Baymax put down. I am Jarl Carl on the play-by-play desk, and joining me on the caster desk is Merlin, of course, from the first game. You ready for this third game, sir?
Absolutely, they've been doozies. We had a first game that was just picked apart by a split Fiora, and in a second game, a Fed Ez was no match for a Fed Hecarim, and they were able to pick up a second win. That Royal Griffin. We are on to the third match, and we have seen pick ban adjustments by both teams. Fiora's gone, Hecarim's gone, Ornn is gone, who they did struggle with. Despite a CS lead, the engages were super powerful by Royal Griffin. We do have SandNinjas on the red side. And I'm excited to see, what picks fall through and who they go. Here we go.
Absolutely. Are into the picks. 4/10 of last game has been banned out. So, or the previous series, I should say. There was no Fiora in the last game. So math is too hard. We should not be saying fractions on air. That always leads to problems. But Kai'Sa's been picked up for RGM. We saw that in the last game. To a pretty good effect. It was pretty strong champion in the meta. If it can get rolling, Kai'Sa when behind is amazingly not good. So we'll have to see her get ahead. A pretty tough matchup also in the bot lane in Aphelios. Aphelios is very oppressive at all stages of the game. That champion is probably the best AD carry in competitive play, and certainly the AD carry with the highest skill cap. Although Kai'Sa is right up there in terms of skill cap. So this could be a good match in the bot lane. Nami, of course, very oppressive support, but also susceptible to ganks. So we'll see if RGM can pick a nice ganking jungler that could have a lot of impact. Both Aphelios and Nami are really immobile. They have some crowd control, but it's just really hard to get out once you get locked down. So we'll see what the jungle picks come through. Nautilus also going to assist in that gank.
I think Nautilus is a good pick, something engage all in against that Aphelios Nami. SandNinja's bot lane, both diamond players, super strong. That first game, Aphelios really took it to the opposing bot lane. I hope Royal Griffin are ready for this. Also, Nami banned in game 1, I believe. But this is the comfort pick. This is 115 games of ranked this season. So you've got to be ready for someone who's super mechanically sound. RGM picks their top laner for their third pick, a Maokai. So again, going for a tank, not the Ornn since it was banned, but they still have an answer for something on that top side. Yasuo picked up by SandNinjas, banned in the other games. He was nerfed recently, supposedly not his strongest patch. But perhaps the mechanics will make up for it this match.
Could be. Yasuo, obviously another very high skill cap champion. So a lot of skilled champs in this game. You were mentioning over 100 ranked games on some of these folks. That is, I think, more ranked games than I've played this year so far. So maybe I should be a little bit more on the grinding path and a little bit less on the casting path. But who knows? Life decisions can be discussed at a later date. Yasuo, of course, can pop off in games, but also can be very lackluster. So kind of similar to that Kai'Sa, needs to get a little bit of a lead, at least stay on curve to really be relevant in the game. Has some decent knockup assistance so far with the Nami. Malphite being locked in would help that a lot more. That's the hover right now for the SandNinjas. On the other side, just speaking of synergy briefly, Kai'Sa and Nautilus go very well together. Nautilus stacks the Kai'Sa passive incredibly quickly, has 3 ways to proc that with his passive, his Q, and his ultimate, so that could also be big. Watch for her to just get a lot of burst damage off, especially if she can upgrade that Q. In isolation, 1 versus 2s, this Kai'Sa Nautilus will just obliterate any target that comes against them. The passive will be procced immediately. Isolated Q, once it's upgraded, is very, very strong. Received some buffs a couple of patches ago. But they're going to be up against the Yasuo Malphite, which is really an AD carry's worst nightmare, Merlin.
Absolutely. Kai'Sa is going to have difficulty getting away. That ult is... You can flash it, but it is tough. It looks like... Would you agree that the Malphite is likely a laner?
Yes, I assume that will be top. I think we're still looking for the jungler pick up percentage. I just think the Malphite jungle is a little bit too weak right now to really be trying to run, although it does help the Yasuo. I expect it to be in the top lane to just kind of try to counter out this Darius.
So I wish they hadn't picked it 4th pick. I mean, there's that Mordekaiser. I'm a little worried that that's a Malphite jungle. So here's the thing. Maybe they were just planning on flexing the Malphite. Maybe it was picked initially for top. But that Mordekaiser is his #1 played champion. He had a pretty credible game on it against Fiora, who's a pure counter match. Now he's against Darius. Not easy, but in like level 8, 9, that lane really turns enough that Mordekaiser can really take over. I don't know how the Malphite in the jungle will do. That Echo for Royal Griffin in game 1 was pretty strong, got a lot done. But they're looking for the combo. They're looking for the Malphite Yasuo. And I'm thinking what the jungler is on RGM, Echo or Maokai?
One of those two, you'd have to think. I mean, Maokai mid is a thing that I've seen a couple of times. It could be a genius counterpick to the Yasuo.
It would be really good
but
on
they
the
also-
surface.
They also picked it before the Yasuo, so that makes it less likely, unless it was just like 1,000 IQ by RGM. Echo to me is the most obvious jungler, but then there's no mid laner, right? So
Yeah.
if I had to put money on it, I would probably say Maokai jungle, Echo mid. But that sounds worse than the I feel like the Maokai is better in mid lane against the Yasuo than the Echo is. Actually, it just seems weird, right? So we'll see how they decide to go. I also think the Maokai would do a lot better at surviving ganks from the Malphite, which could be a big deal. I know he doesn't have the Chrono Break, which the ultimate could help a lot, but you can also just get one shot by Malphite Yasuo, right? So Chrono Break might not help as much as just being kind of a tanky boy and able to use the Twisted Advance to dodge stuff. I guess we're gonna find out. We'll see what champions these players pick, but it's definitely a real puzzler in the draft.
I think that the Echo's in the jungle. I think the Maokai was initially probably picked for top or just picked for confusion, and then they decided to flex it mid when they saw the Yasuo, or maybe they knew that was coming. Because in the previous 2 games, they did ban Yasuo, so he has never had a chance to be played. So maybe they were thinking, well, we know that this is his comfort pick. This is who he plays when everything else is open. So we're going to kind of pick this. It might appear to be top. But I kind of like Royal Griffin's lineup. The Darius, strong kind of in those early levels. Maokai, potentially a good counter for the Yasuo. And they're clearly looking for like 5v5 team fight oriented comps. On SandNinja's side, the Mordekaiser can split all game, but again, the Malphite Yasuo looking to either pick off 1, 2, 3 people, and the Aphelios can really lay down that damage, zone, Nami for heals, and ult, another source of knockup. I guess I would give, if Darius gets a lead, he can be really oppressive. And Kai'Sa is obviously a good scaler, but I feel like SandNinjas with the Aphelios is probably a slightly better scaling team.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the Kai'Sa's too short range against this comp. Like, who is she gonna hit in the late game? Say she has 6 items, right? Who does she actually focus fire? She's not gonna be able to hit Aphelios. She's not gonna be able to hit Nami. She's gonna be stuck hitting Mordekaiser, who's just gonna ult her. You'd have to assume, and she doesn't really want to build QSS. That's a terrible item on Kai'Sa. And then Malphite Yasuo, like, you probably need QSS to get out of Malphite ult. But at the same time, again, you don't want to build that item. Then it's not up for Mordekaiser. So I think Kai'Sa's going to have a lot of a hard time. That's not a sentence. A hard time in these late game team fights, just doing damage because she's not a Caitlyn. She's not an Ezreal. She can't really. She has no range essentially. Her ultimate can help, but she needs that to dodge away from some stuff. And so I think she's going to just have a lot of difficulty getting any damage off in these late game team fights. Whereas I think it's really easy for the SandNinjas team to do damage. They just kind of Malphite ult, especially in these lower elo games. Not that this is a super low elo game, but in a non-professional, non-Grandmaster Challenger game, people group up against the Malphite very frequently. It's really easy to get a big combo off. If Aphelios can get a great Gravitum ult or a Flamethrower ult on top of that, that could just be massive damage coming through for the SandNinjas. And so I think RGM has a lot of ways that they can just kind of auto-lose team fights. I do kind of like their comp. The script's been flipped completely on us. It's Darius mid and Maokai top with Echo in the jungle. So everything we just said was, apparently just nonsense. But, I think this team of the SandNinjas just has an easier time doing damage in these late game fights.
I kind of think that Darius could do really well against Yasuo. It's a melee matchup. Darius is oppressive level 1. It's going to be difficult for Yasuo to farm. I mean, I think his Q is probably the same as Darius's Apprehend, so he might be able to get pulls and the slow. I think that, I don't know if that's a prepared counter or something they come up with on the fly, but it looks like it's got potential. Maokai is top, Echo is in the jungle, which we thought would be the case. Malphite's relatively weak, but in the jungle, so I would expect him to just farm to 6. He doesn't really add a lot other than a slow off of his Q when he comes in for ganks. So I really think RGM has a nice early game. Gotta watch for that bot and gotta watch for the warding. So in the first 2 games, SandNinjas would go for a topside ward really deep, and then they would start their jungler on the top side to allow bot to push. I hope that RGM does not fall into that trap a third time, because it allows SandNinja's bot lane, Aphelios Nami, to get level 2 early, to get the level lead, to get the push lead, to harass under turret, and it really put RGM behind. Echo obviously likes to lead, to have a leash, but I feel like starting him on the top side and letting Maokai work with him and getting that bot lane down so you can get level 2 first with Nautilus Kai'Sa would be a much better choice. The other counterplay, of course, is to stack a topside bush, have everybody run up there, and when that one person comes up to ward, jump on him. So there are some options. This is a best of 3. They've had some experience, and counterplay like this becomes possible in best of 3s. I hope they take advantage of some of it.
Yeah, you really want to get this. I'm going to just touch on the level 2 point that you made in the bot lane as my pen goes flying. Once again, I'm really all discombobulated this evening, but I think you really want to get level 2 for Kai'Sa and Nautilus in this lane. If they can get a level 2 kill, they can continue to exist in this lane. I think if they don't end up with priority early, they're going to find themselves in a lot of trouble as this lane goes on, as Aphelios scales up a little bit. Nami E, starts to do some damage. The heals are getting bigger. It's just really hard for them to find and engage if they can't get a kill when they go in. And at level 6, I find it hard for them to get past the Nami ult. I think Tidal Wave is just too strong of an ultimate against Nautilus because he can't get over it. And so he's always going to get knocked up by it. Kai'Sa can kind of jump into the backline with Killer Instinct, but like you don't always want to jump next to an Aphelios, especially if he has Chakram up. And so the Chakram can do a lot of work against his Kai'Sa ult to just keep it from being used, because you can't get right next to Aphelios, which is something you always want to do on Kai'Sa, is get right next to somebody, just burst them out. But Aphelios has, that counter in that Chakram, and so I think it's hard to find and engage in this bot lane if you are RGM. On the other side, for the SandNinjas, it's pretty pleasant as long as they don't find themselves getting ganked. Again, that's going to be their main weakness in this lane. But I think if Cyclops can really focus in the bot lane, Kai'Sa and Nautilus are just going to be so scared of this ultimate as well. Watch for the level 6s on Cyclops and tomorrow, maybe a roam down for the Dragon play. Right when they're level 6, that combo is really deadly, especially if you don't really know Malphite 6. That first ultimate can have a lot of impact.
I think it'll be around that Drake. I think that's definitely where we're going to see it. I think the early game Echo, he's got to get some work done. He's either got to invade or hit that mid lane or help that bot lane. Because we know that Malphite isn't a power farmer. He's not super relevant in the early levels, while Echo at 3 is perfectly capable of gap closing, getting some harass down, and with a bit of luck, landing a stun. So I hope that he is active on the map, trying to get something done in mid or bot lane. Top lane, the Mordekaiser, Maokai, that's even a pretty fair gankable lane. Maokai sets up the ganks relatively well. Darius has no escapes. The only problem is he is capable of 2v1ing from time to time, depending on where the top lane HP bars are at and how big the minion wave is. But Echo's really got a lot of options for ganks, and hopefully he can make something happen there.
I want to point out on the summoner list, we have double exhaust in the bot lane, which I think makes sense. We kind of talked about earlier how these champions really want to go toe-to-toe. Nautilus also has the wrong runes. That has to be the right. I mean, unless I'm going to go, he has Senna runes, maybe? I'm not sure. I think Senna's the only support you take Grasp on. I don't believe there's a rule for remaking the game with the wrong runes. So I think we're going to be sticking it with the Grasp, which would not be ideal. Nautilus is not a tanky champion without Aftershock. So
Right.
he's just doomed, I think, in this lane. I mean, it's a huge deal.
Yes, Aftershock is a very, very important keystone. It gives you the stats to survive and engage. And on a Mumu, Nautilus, champs like that, you really need it when you're getting melee with, late game with like 4 or 5 team members.
Yeah, it's I mean, it might not be a huge deal if he can get ahead, get a stone plate maybe, but Aftershock just provides so much tankiness, and like he's essentially going to be as tanky as Nami is now in these lanes. Like he's traditionally seen as a tank. Sure, he has a shield, but it's just not. He's just going to fall apart like an ice cream sandwich in the summer. We are going to throw it to a bit of a break as we do get into this game to sort out a few technical difficulties, but we will be back in just a few moments for this rubber match between Royal Griffin Majesty and the SandNinjas. Welcome back, everybody. We are now on to the Rift for this rubber match, game number 3 between Royal Griffin Majesty on the blue side and the SandNinjas on the red side. 20 seconds into the game, everybody has made their initial purchases and are moving out onto the Rift. I'm Jarl Carl, bringing you the action for this third game in place of Baymax, who had to step away, and I'm joined by Merlin.
Interestingly, SandNinjas goes for that topside ward, and of course, Royal Griffin just gives it up without stacking 5 men. But instead of just bringing 2, they bring the whole squad. So I like that. They were actually
They're all
hoping.
singing too. This is interesting. Everybody knows what a great apprehend. We're going to see a fight here at level 1, bro. These teams are not messing around. This is a 10-man fight in this level 1. First play going to go in favor of Aphelios, as these teams aren't too sure what to do, but it does look like the SandNinjas are coming out on top. Teacher having to flash away, going very low. One more auto attack from Black Masu could be enough to take him out, but he's not going to be able to catch him, as Black is going to now have to get back into the fight. Maxwell going very low. Cyclops close to picking up that 1 kill, but it's level 1. Nobody has any abilities. Aphelios literally has no abilities, as Black is now fighting Shadell on the side, but he's going to get caught up by Ninja, but there's no ability. It's just the parallel convergence. Ninja can't get anything done, and in the end, it's a 2-for-1 in favor of Royal Griffin Majesty, and we might actually see more. I'm going to hold that thought. Giant Panda, there's a flash. Strike over the wall, going to go on to Black. He's going very low. He's going to be taken out straight away. It's going to be followed shortly by Tomorrow, and it's a disaster for the SandNinjas at level 1. They lose 4-for-1.
That Echo picks up 2 kills. He's going to be a monster. That was a really nice engage. So Maokai was chased through the red side of the jungle. And here we go in the mid lane.
Sleepy Giant Panda's the mid laner now, everybody. Right. He's hanging out. He's getting some gold, actually. I don't know why he's still here.
Yeah.
He's going to be way late to Merlin, I don't know what's going on.
This is a crazy game. So I just wanted to say that when Malphite went through the jungle and he was running, he dropped a ward while he was running, and that's the ward that spotted out the recalls and enabled them to get 2 more kills. Just a super smart ward by the Malphite. Everything's gone haywire. We've got Nautilus and Kai'Sa with the push now, and the Nami's going to be a little bit under-leveled. Darius is in the mid lane now, and Echo has not bought, but he's sitting on 1,000 gold. He's going to be strong right after that.
Also seen some interesting timings now. The teleport smacks a little bit unfortunate in the top lane. Tomorrow doing a lot of damage in the mid lane. Ended up having to back off as Heater did proc that 5-stack passive to get a little bit of bleeding going on. Sleepy Giant Panda, very aggressive in the bot lane. I guess they've probably noticed the grasp for Devout. I don't want to harp on it too much, but I do think it's has giant implications for this game, as Devout just not going to have that tankiness. Didn't need it in that fight, apparently. Got those 4 assists, but no purchases really have come through. For almost anybody, we have the Null Magic Mantle on Maxwell, and we have a Dagger on Black with a couple extra potions as well. But other than that, it's still a pretty even early game, despite this one.
It is. I will say that Darius Yasuo skirmish, I think Darius was 1 auto away from finishing that. Like the bleed on those early levels, it's really easy to underestimate how much damage they do. And I think he actually had a window to get that kill.
Almost. Scuttlecrab not quite going to go in favor of Cyclops, who we mentioned is a little bit weaker in the early game. And yeah, Malphite is not really a champion until he has his ultimate. He's one of those champions that has most of his kit in his ultimate, and so he's going to need to stack up a little bit more before he's able to get anything done. Loses out that Scuttlecrab, and he's down 2 kills and an assist, right? So he's already 500 gold behind, and Ninja, after this first recall, is when we're going to really see that power, come to fruition for him. He's going to be able to complete that jungle item so much more quickly and really start getting ahead of Cyclops, who also has Predator. We have not really mentioned that yet, but this is going to be a very speedy Malphite with the ganks, but they're really just putting all the baskets into his ultimate, right? He doesn't need he's not going to go Aftershock for the team fight. Tankiness, he's really just going to be going for that Predator. He wants to get a big ultimate off and then try to get some kills from that.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I feel like Malphite doesn't really lack for speed, and the range on the ultimate is significant. I don't know what other keystones he would necessarily take. I will say that Darius is just, like, massively out-trading the Yasuo. He got back to lane, had bought an extra Dorans, and it took about 15 seconds for Darius to get him down to 2 bars. So this was a prepared pick. They deliberately waited and chose Heater's Darius to go into this Yasuo. with an Echo, so they didn't lack for AP. Echo's in the jungle, and I think that it's working. We got to keep an eye on this lane. Melee lanes are always really volatile. At this one, it's going to be no exception.
I think this is just a really, really great draft by RGM. You know, you mentioned the Maokai pick might have just been for some confusion. It certainly confused us. Ended up being just a completely standard pick. Maokai in the top lane. It was the Darius that was really the wrench in the works. But a really smart draft by RGM. We couldn't figure it out, and we had time to think about it until they actually picked it. We had no idea what these champions were. So very well done by RGM. Very well prepared for this third game. Maxwell kind of taking a beating up in the top lane. Griffin has arrived. The whole item is completed. He has a lot of damage. Ice's going to go pretty low, get some of the parallel conversions, has to get himself out. I don't think he can. Pops the shield. Conqueror's on. He does a lot of damage. He actually might be able to flash his way out of this one. Cyclops has arrived with the Predator. There's the Predator we wanted to see. He's coming in. He's slapping away with his rocky self, but not going to get a whole lot done. He does get Ice out of that situation, however.
Yeah, they got the flash, though. Mordekaiser's immobile. Without that flash, he's going to be hurting. We've got Darius and Yasuo skirmishing in the mid lane. But yeah, you know, getting rid of the flash, I think is, you know, it's really worth mentioning. You got to know that that's there.
Double flash extended to the middle ignite, and Ghost has gone down. Heater! What a great kill onto Tomorrow in the mid lane. Cyclops was there to finish the kill. Isaac, I didn't really see what happened there, but he just dives to the turret. So Maxwell picking up the kill in the top lane. Great outplay potential in the mid lane. Both flashes expended. The ignite went down at the same time. They are really grasping at straws to try to get the edge over their opponent there. In the end, a 1-for-1.
Yeah, the 1-for-1 mid, the Darius flashed over the tornado, so avoiding the knockup. They both hit 6 and went in like immediately. And I feel like Darius came out on top given that he was drawing jungle pressure as well. Got a bunch of long swords. On the top side, Echo stuck around after that gank and I think just jumped the wall. And Maokai is one of the best setups for junglers ever. He's just got so much CC and knockback and sustain that he's usually healthy when it happens. He's got a Spectre's Cowl, so he's well on his way to becoming invincible against Mordekaiser. Really good start by Royal Griffin. 1k gold lead, 6 kills to 2. Let's see if they can kind of transition the early lead.
Yeah, for sure. They're doing pretty well for themselves. We're seeing fights across the map, mid and bot lane. Eventually, each are going to be okay. In the mid of the fight, and the bot lane has commenced. Black and the Blast was left just safe. He's Sleepy Giant Panda not going to be quite as lucky. He is taken out. Shaydell picking up that kill. Black has gotten himself away. There is the Q from the pistol and the Chakram. He does quite a lot of damage right now, but he has no target with which to hit with these Chakrams, so he's massive ramp off from that one. Support goes down, but they still only lose 1 kill. Not the worst thing in the world is the Dragons to get started out.
Yeah, that kill leads into the Dragon, though, and in the mid lane, Heater's still causing, like, a ton of trouble. He actually drew Mordekaiser down from the top lane and Malphite. So, you know, and yet it's still, like, maintaining priority, which prevents SandNinjas from really competing for the Drake. So, I think this mid lane's having a ton of impact. Let's see what happens.
There is the unstoppable force in the last breath. Teacher stands no chance for the to get away. He is going to be going down in the black lane. Black Masu doing so much damage to the Chakram. I mentioned those earlier. He's doing so much work. He gets one. Can he get a second? Yes, he can. Black Masu showing the abilities with the Aphelios. This champion is bonkers strong if you can stack those Chakram. He had so many going. Moonlight Vigil plus the pistol Q. Picking up the kill along with the BF sword in for the damage component. Ginja Ninja going in the mid lane tomorrow trying to get himself up, but he takes a tower shot. That's going to spell his doom. Ginja Ninja now on a killing spree, but that Aphelios play, that was insane.
That Aphelios play was brilliant. Ginja Ninja really good, coming through Wraiths, prepping the stun beforehand, lands it perfectly so that as the minions clear, Yasuo takes that 1 tower shot, which is just enough damage for him to clear. Malphite's doing a lot of counter jungling. We'll see if he's able to get out, but he is spotted on a ward here.
Ninja going on towards him. Cyclops just kind of dies. Where he stands engaged in the bot lane flag, stands virtually no chance to get out of this, but he's going to be going down. Shutdown goes in favor of the Maokai. That's an extra 200 gold in his pocket for half 1,000 for that 1 kill. A great teleport. That's for the kill.
Yeah, when I think about junglers that can invade, you want somebody with mobility, somebody with escapes. Malphite is not the top of my list for champions that should be doing a lot of invading.
Yeah, certainly not. Tomorrow in the mid lane taking some more poke. And Ginja Ninja has rotated up into the top lane against Isaac. We're into the death realm now. That Q going to get broken up. by Ginjin Ninja. Has the ultimate though. I think that does work in the death row. There's the 1Q though. No! Chrono break. Time out of broken for him though. Didn't have enough of it to push that button. Ginjin Ninja going down, even in the mid lane. There's the unstoppable for the into the last breath combo. Once again, it has gone down as well. And Tomorrow now picking up another kill. That combo is really hard to dodge if you're Heacher, and a little bit of a disaster there for RGN.
Yeah, he's got to get some wards. He's got to be able to see it coming early, although we've got an engaged bot side.
Yeah, the bot lane of SandNinjas once again caught a little bit too far forward. Smaxwell's still there. They go down right again. I don't know. I feel like I just saw that play about 45 seconds ago, so I'm sending it right back to you, Merlin.
You know, it's interesting. We've got a 4-0-3 Maokai, and I called out his Spirit Visage, and he hasn't backed since then. He finally went back. He's got a 30 CS deficit. And here we go, more fighting for that mid lane.
We just saw this play in the mid lane too, Merlin. Tomorrow takes the tower shot. Chrono break goes down. Ginjin Ninja going to be okay on this one. Everybody gets away that time, but man, that last minute looked eerily similar to the minute right before.
It does.
Yeah, Yasuo gets away this time, I guess was the only difference. But this is just turned full Fiesta right now. We've got more than 2 kills a minute. That's not true. Somewhat, almost 2 kills a minute.
The Yasuo is getting ahead. You know, he's got what is it? 4.5k gold, so about 1,200 up on the Darius. The Darius really has to just scout better. He's got to know, they've got to track the jungler, they got to know where Malphite is. If he doesn't see Malphite, he just can't get aggressive, can't get in on the minions on that lane. It looks like they're trying to set up for him. He's pushing, they're trying to bait, and they sent Nautilus and Echo to try and help with a gank. They are rotating bot. We're going to see more fireworks here. Let's see if they can make it work.
Likely is going to be another fight. Turret goes down. Tidal Wave expended as well for a little bit of poke off of that. Disengage comes through. Black and Sleepy Giant do escape in the bot lane. Could have been some fireworks, but the ultimate expended to keep himself safe.
I think that's a good ultimate for just walking down to the lane. You also clear out some wards. It's just going to make bot side a little bit more uncomfortable. We've got Drake in 55 seconds. Malphite's working towards bot side. Echo's looking for a mid gank, but that's the next objective. Nautilus is also rotating on. They're using that bot priority to try and get something done against the Yasuo, who's gotten ahead a little bit. Here we go.
Does have flash. It's going to be okay. Maybe not flash apprehend, as well as the ultimate from Nautilus going to come through. That is just a wombo combo. Yasuo taken off the map, but 2 ultimates expended. That might not be worth it. Yasuo will be up for the dragon.
Yeah, that was an apprehend into the Echo stun, and really beautifully timed. You can tell that these guys play together as a 5 with the combinations looking that strong. So they're 5v4 on the map. They've got position, they've got wards. Pink in the dragon pit, 12 seconds till it's up. They're just going to be looking to get a little bit of deep wards. They pop the blast cone. Oh, Maokai wants to fight instead of draking.
Nice, going to go into the death realm against Teacher. Teacher probably going to fall. They're going to trade the kill back onto Cyclops. That is the jungler taken out of this one. Izut gets exhausted, but he is doing a ton of AoE damage. Black Masu now is in the backline. Moonlight Vigil comes across. This could be huge with the sniper rifle. He has the chakram as well. He can do so much damage. The flash onto Ginjin Ninja over the wall. So Panda might be able to pick up this kill by himself. Shadell going to get taken out by those chakram. This Aphelios is doing so much work, Merlin, as the SandNinjas really flip the script on this fight. They win it 4-for-1. No junglers on the map, but they do have control of the objective.
Oh man, I can't tell you how much I hate that fight. So Royal Griffin had everything set up. Here we go with Maokai in the mid lane.
He's gonna get jumped on. He's gonna go down eventually. Not a whole lot to not a whole lot to be had there.
So that is 5-for-1. So the point I feel of getting the Yasuo pick is that you can rotate to Drake and have them come to you. It's always easier to fight if people are coming to you. But instead, they decided to engage with the 5v4, and you know, it's always much more difficult to run at somebody. Dragon's getting picked up here by SandNinjas. It's always more difficult to run in on people. And though the beginning of the fights looked okay, Aphelios hadn't yet joined, so it was really kind of almost 3v5 for the first 8-10 seconds. And when he joined, he really turned things around. Mordekaiser picked off Echo in the Death Realm, and then even with 3 people banging on him, the additional stats he gets by killing somebody in the death realm is really significant. You cannot underestimate the extra armor MR that he picks up there. So after he kills someone in the death realm, he is a little bit difficult to take down. So while all of them were spending all this time, abilities, and mana trying to take down the Mordekaiser, it just allowed everybody else to catch up and join the fight. We are now at a almost 3.5k gold lead for SandNinjas, and I feel like they're, positioning well in the mid game.
Cyclops running himself out to safety, gets himself a heal from Sleepy Giant Panda tomorrow. Watching from the side, this could be a 5v4. There is no Kais in this fight, but teleport is available on Icesuck in the top lane. If they do want to join for this Herald fight, Sleepy Giant Panda gonna get jumped on as well. Teleport has been called down from Icesuck. He's going to be arriving on the scene. Shadell has arrived as well. It's now 5 versus 5. All members are here. Most of the ultimates are available. We could be in for a barn burner of a fight around this objective. We're starting it off with the Herald Vance. Actually, the Herald had been continued here. The patience very high on that objective. The ward's going to get swept. The Herald going to go over in favor of the SandNinjas. And that fight, it looked like we could have had a big fight there. Turns out to just be a little bit of a dance around the Herald. Herald goes over, and now RGM pushing in the mid.
Yep, it looks like they popped the Predator, but they're going directly on the Malphite before he even gets a chance to ult.
Cyclops just kind of dies there, doesn't get his ult off, doesn't get his flash off. Icesuck has gone into the death realm with Feature once again, doing so much damage. This morning has been quite strong. He goes on a rampage. Now the fight getting continued tomorrow in the backline, tries to get onto Shadell with that last breath. But Shadell able to use Killer Instinct to get himself away, has to use the flash as well. Not going to be enough. Tomorrow has picked up that one kill. There's another tornado rolling through this fight. They're about going to be taken out. Double kill. Chrono Break comes through for Genshin as well, trying to get a bit of safety, but it's not going to be enough. It's a triple kill coming through for tomorrow. The ace picked up by Icesuck on this Mordekaiser. The RGM loses another fight.
He is a Mordekaiser main, his most played champion for the season. And again, so much focus on the Mordekaiser. I know he looks low. I know after he gets out of the death realm, the tendency is just to want to lay in on the Mordekaiser. But again, there's other champions that are squishier, that don't have the extra stats, that you need to focus. And if they keep focusing this Mordekaiser, they're going to keep giving away 4 for 1, 5 for 1. The beginning of that fight looked really good for Royal Griffin. They got a free pick on the Malphite, and then they pushed in away from the turret, away from the rest of the team, into the Mordekaiser, which I think was totally fine. Mordekaiser gets his one ult and got a kill onto Heacher, and at that point, Royal Griffin really needs to slow down and assess and figure out what they want to do in that moment when he comes out of the death realm, because it could have just been 1 for 1. And instead they kind of chase, they go deep, they don't have the damage, and things kind of fall apart.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be careful with this Mordekaiser. I think you might even need a QSS if you are Genshin Ninja. He keeps getting ulted. He's one of the strongest members, and if you can cancel out that ultimate, it can do so much for your team, right? It keeps, Icesuck's still on the map for sure, but it makes sure that you're not getting him those stats, making sure that you're not going down. Genshin Ninja taking a lot of damage. There's a Predator coming through from Cyclops. They might just go for the Unstoppable Force over the wall. Genshin Ninja does have the Chrono Rig available. There's the tidal wave Velvet coming in as well. This is going to be a big fight. Unstoppable now tomorrow is picking up that one kill as the teleport. He might have teleported into his Doom. The Blast Cone going to keep him safe, buying a little bit more space from that one, but still 2 more kills going over in favor of the SandNinjas. They spawn the Herald at the top.
Yeah, Aphelios is big. He's got 9k already at 18 minutes. He has completed an Infinity Edge and a Runin's Hurricane. You just don't want to get near him, and he's got such range, and is in the hands of a skilled champ. We've talked about that Diamond bot lane. Here they go, pushing the inhib turrets.
Shadell in the Death Realm taken out. Icesuck so strong on this Mordekaiser. He is just ripping through this game. Depth Charge going to knock him up in the air, but Black has picked up the kill onto Devout. What a great snipe in the back line for him. Genshin is desperately trying to defend his tower, but he's going to get hit by the bubble. Last breath comes through. Not a prayer in the world for him. Chrono Break not able to use. No flash able to be used by him as well. He is taken out. The inhibitor goes down. Black continuing to move forward. Each are going to try to finish the kill onto him. The flash for Black is still available. There's the kill going over. Sleepy Giant Panda has picked up that one. The ace comes down as well against this team. It is just Shaydell left. We could be looking at a 19-minute end of the game with 5-man strong push against just the bot lane left. Shaydell and Devout now in the bot lane going to get rooted off by Gravitum. Shaydell going to be falling as well to Mordekaiser. Cyclops has picked up that one kill. The pullback from Mordekaiser's Icesuck going to get shut down, but it might not make any difference at this point. The minion waves are in the face. The flamethrower is through for Black to try to keep these minion waves cleared out, I should say. It looks like the game-ending push is going to be stifled. They're going to focus on the mid lane inhibitor tower, but the SandNinjas just blow the game even farther open. Sleepy Giant Panda going to get killed, probably in exchange here. Genji Ninja going to pick up that one kill, but it doesn't matter. Your base is dying, Genji Ninja. You need to be back there. The inhibitor is going to fall as well. They might be able to move back towards the dragon. The inhibitor does go down. Going to get pulled in with the apprehend. What a great move by that one. Black still doing a lot of damage. Oh, the ultimate comes through. Moonlight Vigil. Black Mesa goes huge that fight with Tomorrow. What a great triple kill for the Yasuo in that fight. Black Mesa finally going to go down. It's just Tomorrow left alive, but he's going to be moving towards Shaydell. No ultimate available. There's the knockup still coming through. He has so much crit. Shaydell might be going down here. Yes, he is. Not going to be able to stay alive. Genji Ninja picks up that kill. What a crazy fight, Merlin, and that turnaround at the end was insane.
That turnaround was amazing. The Yasuo, they worked on him through the mid game. They got him some kills early with the repeat Malphite ganks on that Darius, and oh my gosh, they turned around. They had a combined 180 health at max and were able to outlast and outduel a really, really fantastic mechanics and outplay there. They've got Mordekaiser on the bot lane, and at this point, 2 inhibs. SandNinjas just looking incredibly strong. We've got a 12, 5, and 10 Yasuo participation in 22 to 29 kills. That is your dream Yasuo line. Super strong and making it happen. It looks like they picked up the Infernal, and hopefully it's going to be eyes on the Baron in that bot lane next.
Yeah, we talked about at the start of this game how Yasuo and Kai'Sa were both champions that need to stay on or ahead of the curve. And I think it's fair to say Shaydell has not stayed on the curve, and the Yasuo certainly has. And we're kind of seeing the results. Kai'Sa just doesn't do that much. The Yasuo does so much. We're seeing a 2-man Baron right now. Black Manta has so many chakram right now. You do not want to get anywhere closer. This could be an interesting fight, actually. Chakram are going to run out very shortly. Actually, find himself in a lot of trouble here. He is in quite a lot of trouble. He is not going to survive this, I will dare say. I said it before, and I will say it again, because he did finally fall. Level 2 is over in favor of Genji. This fight going a little bit better for Royal Griffin Majesty. Icesuck going to be taken out as well. It's a triple kill for Genji Ninja. He could be looking for the Quadra on this one. A nice tornado to buy a little bit more time. Pick up the kill onto Devout, but Genji Ninja has picked up the Quadra kill. It's just Sleepy Giant Panda left alive. We could realistically see a pentakill here. He's walking back in. Genji Ninja, do you want to go for this one? It looks like he does not. He's going to be going for the recall. You got to save the base. There's so many minions on these Nexus towers, but the Baron does go over in favor of Shaydell and the rest of Royal Griffin Majesty. They might not be out of this game yet.
Yeah, another way to approach that Baron is, you know, just to take it a little slower. They did not have Mordekaiser with them at the start of the fight. They were 2-manning Baron, and the supers hadn't yet crashed. Royal Griffin was given opportunity to kind of push out and get to that fight without losing much damage on the Nexus turrets. So I think it's an option to just kind of play that slow and not push like so hard and fast for it. I still feel like SandNinjas have a huge lead. It only seems to be 5k at this point, and yes, Royal Griffin has Baron, but the fact that they're missing 2 of their inhibitors means that they're not going to get a lot of objectives off of the Baron. It's going to be more of a holding pattern so that they can get their inhibs back up before they take other fights. In the meantime, we've got a good rotation. All 5 members of SandNinjas are bot side. There's no Baron to protect or go for anymore. So letting the supers push the other 2 lanes while you 5-man this one is absolutely the best macro play you can make. And, you know, there's still the threat of the Yasuo Malphite combo. It's going to be very difficult to defend the outer. There are going to be 4 men instead of 5, sending Darius back to clear.
Still very hard to push against the Baron buff minions. They just have so much more health. It's so much harder to take them down. Can cause a lot of trouble Devout. Taking some damage. Remember, no aftershock. He is quite tanky. Icesuck trying to throw in a bit of hope. Darius clearing out the creeps. These Nexus towers, or the inhibitors, I should say, should be up reasonably soon. Yeah, as I say that, there's the call coming through in the chat. So one more wave of super minions. That is it in the mid lane. beyond the ones that are already in the base. So Heater can move over to help his team once he clears out everything that's in the base so far. And we're kind of seeing a repeat of last game, though. And Ninja is so strong in this game on the Echo versus the one-fed solo laner, or the one-fed carry in the side of the SandNinjas here. As this, we seem to have kind of just fought ourselves to a standstill here in the bot lane. Nobody's really going anywhere anytime soon. Isox trying to take a lot of damage to this turret. He might get knocked back into it. He goes down straight away. He doesn't go this last breath coming through from the unstoppable force. What a great combo coming down as well. Slackoff trying to keep himself safe with that stopwatch. Shadell trying to do the damage he can with the killer instinct, but it's just not going to be enough. A triple kill comes through for the Aphelios. He's staying alive, and it's just Heater left to defend the base. He might actually be able to. There's a lot of low health bars here, but he needs to go now. They are healing up. Black Master doing so much in that fight. He's taking the tower shot, so he might be going down. He could be going straight away. Heater trying to save the game here for his team. A triple apprehend. This could be huge, Merlin, but it's not. He's going to get taken out at the end of that one. Just a double kill. Not able to get anything going with the 19 guillotine. I think he needed to start with that and maybe go from there, but that might be the end of the game, Merlin.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't get as many ult resets. He had the 3-man apprehend was really nice, and obviously
he didn't ult.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he didn't ult. So
nobody knows. We're speechless.
I feel
and give enough time for Snaxwell to come back alive. Hate to cut you off, but it looks like we're gonna be going toe to toe once again. Snaxwell gonna get knocked up. Shadell is here. There's the W from Kaisa to try to get that mark for the ult, which isn't even up. So just kidding on that one. Tomorrow not running away. No ult available for him. He's gonna get caught out, but he does have flash available. Nice flash up the wall to get the blast cones. Actually, yes, he will get out of this situation. Dragon up in 30 seconds. This would be the third dragon of the game for the SandNinjas, but it's still no soul, Merlin. This game is just crazy.
It is, but hopefully SandNinjas can regroup and just position around this Drake. They've got only one inhib now. A lot easier to push out mid lane and rotate to Drake than it is to cover 2 lanes. So I think we're kind of back a little bit more on an even footing. The Mordekaiser on that bot lane. And here we go, more Mordekaiser fighting.
Maxwell taking more damage. He's going to be in the death realm, trying to keep himself topped off, but he just cannot do it against this Mordekaiser taking so much damage. Nice flash, actually, might keep himself alive. He is staying alive in this fight. He stays alive the whole time. Isaac going down as well. Teacher now is in the position to pop up, but he's not able to get the kill. Tomorrow going to fall as well, but Black is still alive. Shadell desperately trying to get himself away from these chakras. He has this gun in every fight. Great gun management by Black in this game. These chakras doing huge work. Ninja going to be going down. He was the one carrying. He was the one character that could save the game, but he's not able to do so. It is just Maxwell, ironically the original member in this team fight that got caught out, left to defend the base, but this time surely, Merlin, this game has to be over.
I do not think that Maokai has the wave clear, CC or damage to really hold against 3, particularly with Black's healthy.
The perfect guns once again too. Great management by Black in this game. This is likely going to be the end of the game. He's on to the Nexus Tower. That is falling very, very quickly. Shadell is available in 5 seconds. Feature as well. We might still see a base defense. I don't think it will be successful, but we might see them at least try. This is going unsuccessfully in a very rapid fashion. Black going very low. He's not going to die at all. Down to having to be moving visual flash away from Shadell. But finally, the SandNinjas are able to close out this game. The fountain dive coming down. It doesn't matter. The SandNinjas pick up the series 2-1 over Royal Griffin Majesty.
So I just want to, I think that was a very nicely executed game by SandNinjas. They really worked that Malphite Yasuo, but this was a ton of fun to cast. I think both teams really played well. Royal Griffin in that second game getting the win. And I think both teams really executed, and it was a fun game to cast. Those Yasuo plays this game, though, pretty epic.
Yeah, there were some wild plays in this game by Black and Tomorrow. I don't even know what to say about that triple kill we saw in the base by the inhibitor in the mid lane. That was just crazy stuff. This was just a wild series, all in all, I'm told. I was only here for the 3rd game. I don't know if I could have taken 2 more games like this, so maybe it's good that we had a play-by-play switch on this one. Baymax might have exploded on that one, but what a wild game to finish it out on. It looked like it could be going both ways for a lot of the game, just because the fights were so chaotic. You know, the SandNinjas were ahead for the majority of this game, but it just didn't always feel like it because they were sometimes just throwing fights. They'd sometimes win a fight, they'd win a fight 5-0, and then they'd just like throw everybody away. They'd lose the fight, they'd be in the base, they'd get a bunch of kills, then they'd, you know, overstay just a little bit. So there were a lot of problems in this game for both of these teams. Very unclean all the way across the board. There were 73 kills in 60 minutes. Good Lord, no. There were 73 kills in 27 minutes. So just a wild game all around. for these teams. And congratulations to the SandNinjas on the win, but I think they do need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Just a crazy game. I don't even know what happened. I'm just repeating myself at this point, Merlin. Just talk to me.
It was a bloody game. If I had to pick one like iconic theme that really like decided the fights, it was like the Mordekaiser play. So if Mordekaiser ulted somebody and was able to get a kill in the Death Realm, everything fell apart, I think, on the part of Royal Griffin. They focused him, they tried to kill him, but they couldn't get through the additional stats. And that really was like the centerpiece of a lot of the team fight wins for SandNinjas. On the other hand, on the bot side, pushing the inner turret, Mordekaiser goes in for poke and he gets CC'd and dies. And in that moment, without that big front line, I think that's where a lot of the team fight wins for Royal Griffin happened and where things kind of fell apart for SandNinjas. So you've really got to be aware of what can happen when Mordekaiser gets a kill in the Death Realm and how much you're lacking in frontline and disruption if he gets picked off for the part of SandNinjas. Obviously, 73 kills, incredibly bloody game. Definitely some different macro things here and there, but I feel like the Mordekaiser play, if I had to pick one thing that really like altered the game, it was those Mordekaiser ults in the subsequent play.
Yeah, absolutely. There were, we talked at the start of the game about how these teams were really going to win, and I think the thing we talked about Shadell just having trouble doing damage really came true. I hadn't even thought about how annoying the wind wall would be for him in these fights. He just was not able to go anywhere. They were so far ahead. Well, the RGM was so far behind, but SandNinjas were so far ahead that it was just impossible for Shadell to ever go in the backline. He was going to get one shot by Isaac. He'd, randomly get hit by something from Tomorrow and lose half his health. So there could be a lot of things that could go wrong in this game for him, and he just wasn't able to do damage. We take a quick look at the damage charts. I know you guys can't see this on stream. Yeah, he did the second most in his team, but he did 14,000 damage in 27 minutes. For comparison, Aphelios did 35k, Yasuo did 24k, and the Mordekaiser did 26k. So the Kai'Sa did about the same amount of damage that the Malphite did in this game. The Malphite jungle equaling the the AD carry, the Kai'Sa in this game. It was just Ninja that was really the real hope for them in this game, and he wasn't quite able to carry the same way that he was in that second game. So yeah, it looks like we might be getting an interview going. It's a little unclear what the chat wants versus what our lovely host Axeman87 wants. So we're gonna get Black in here is what I'm being told. So we're gonna pop him in here and ask him just a few questions about that game, how he feels about Aphelios probably coming up on the block. So we're just gonna. All right, we're gonna do a couple things here, and then we'll be getting him in here shortly. Not sure when he'll be popping in. I feel sure. Shortly enough. I keep thinking he's gonna like pop in the Discord and I can quit this filling, but got for me right. All right, we're trying to move him here. Merlin, if you got anything interesting to say, go ahead.
The last thing I wanted to say was the Nami play, Sleepy Giant Panda. The Nami bubble is impossible to actually hit, and over again in the team fight confusions, Nami was able to hit those bubbles on key targets, lock somebody down for like a second kill, and I was really impressed with the bubble play. A lot of more novice Namis will kind of throw it out at the start of a team fight or to try and get a pick, and I think that's a suboptimal use for that skill most of the time because it's just so difficult to hit and so easy to see, and it's got a really long cooldown. But a real expert waits until the team fight occurs, they let 3 or 4 seconds develop, and then they land this like devastating bubble on a carry who can't see it coming because there's just too much going on.
All right, we're gonna be moving. Yeah, we're going up into different Discord channels, so we are gonna be. You might hear a little bit of confusion for the next couple of seconds, but we're gonna move into a different call, and we will be back with you all in like 30 seconds.
Yep.
Hello.
Alrighty, folks, we are back. We have muted Cyclops and Isaac just for their benefit in the Discord call. But we are now joined by Black Masu at long last. We've gotten in the same Discord call as him. How are you doing, sir? Congratulations on the win.
Thank you. I'm doing very well. I think the series was kind of shaky, especially in game two. But I'm glad we won in the end. But I don't think we played as well as we could have.
Yeah, we noticed it was like it kind of give or take, or I think I said it was sloppy on air. How did it feel for you throughout the series? Like, did you guys feel like you were consistently in control in this game? And like last game, where did you kind of feel like it went wrong? Just like, how was the team dynamic? How did you feel like these games were going? You know, because you can't see the goal difference, you can't see what we can see.
I think game one and three went really well in terms of objectives and gold. Game two, I felt like I was strong, but I didn't feel like I could outcarry the Hecarim. And drafting is kind of awkward because we have an uncontrollable beast in the top lane. And he sometimes wants to play picks that wouldn't fit anywhere. But I think we had control most of game one and three. Just game two, we kind of gave it over.
Yeah, for sure. Game two kind of seemed like it kind of fell off a cliff there at the end of the game, but still was very close, right? I mean, you were on towards the Nexus while your Nexus was exploding, right? So a couple of more seconds, this could have been a nice 2-0, but you do pick up the game.
Yeah.
Regardless, how do you feel about like the state of the AD carry meta right now? A couple of different picks this game. We have the series, the Ezreal, the Aphelios. Have you played a lot of Aphelios? Do you feel like he's super busted? I think a lot of people feel like he is right now. Are you comfortable on that champion? Kind of like, what do you think about the state of AD carry right now?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of Aphelios, but then I switched to mid, and I've switched back recently. I definitely think Aphelios is broken as fuck, and especially paired with Death Dance as an item, it's just broken as hell. I think it's just there's three viable ADCs like Varus, Azriel, and Aphelios as the strongest three. Kaisa is somewhere in there, but she still needs a little push.
Yeah, we felt like this game, especially, she just didn't have enough range to really get the same amount of damage that you could out. And it seemed like you were very proficient with cycling the Aphelios guns. It seemed like in a
Yeah.
lot of these big team fights, you had pistol chakram, or at least you had chakram flamethrower, really strong gun combos. Do you feel like that's like a key part of playing Aphelios is managing the guns appropriately?
Yeah, whenever we were looking to fight, I tried dropping the useless guns on a camp nearby or the minion wave.
Mhm.
And then when I had the right weapons, we would just engage.
Yeah, for sure. It can definitely can be, tricky. You're going into a team fight, and you're like, wait, got the wrong gun. Hold on, team. I gotta like randomly root a bunch of creeps or something,
Yeah,
before you go into that fight for sure. But I mean, you played the Aphelios really, really well in this game. You had a 1v2 in the bot lane when you were level 6. They were both level 5. With the chakra and with the ultimate coming through, and the insane
yeah,
triple kill that Tomorrow got in the mid lane by the inhibitor. You and him there getting that triple kill as well was pretty wild. So very well
yeah.
played throughout the series. Do you feel like
Thank
Aphelios
you.
can carry harder than the Ezreal, just kind of going off of these games 2 and 3, or do you think there's just too much different between the two games to really say between the two AD carries?
I think if they had the Fed Hecarim in game 3 as well, Aphelios would have done worse than Ezreal. But Sleepy Giant Panda was on Nami, so when he's on that pick, I kind of trust to stay alive. So I think it could have went better if Aphelios was in the second game with Nami.
For sure. Just to kind of get a little bit more safety there than the Yumi, just kind of different, the Yumi and the Nami, of course.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you very much for the interview. Congratulations on the win. Do you have anything you want to say to the fans out there? Want to shout out anybody from your team? Floor is yours.
Um, Isaac is an uncontrollable beast, but that's it.
Okay. I mean, that's a solid answer right there. Well, thank you very much again for the interview,
Thank
and
you.
congrats on the win, sir. That is going to do it for the broadcast for us for the evening. Thank you all for sticking around and watching. We really appreciate the viewers, everybody getting hyped in the chat. But yeah, it's been more than 3 hours. We've had 3 casters, 3 hours, 3 games, only 1 host, so that kind of breaks the 3 train. But a nice win for the SandNinjas. They go 2-1 over Royal Griffin Majesty in this series. And yeah, that's going to be it for us. On behalf of myself, my co-caster Merlin, Baymax, who is here for the first 2 games doing play-by-play, and of course our lovely host Axman87, who's been in the chat keeping you all company and whispering in our ears to make sure everything works out. We thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Good night.